Hello, y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Andrew Velez. I'm here with Mr. Joel Dehls, River Brown, and you can't see him right now, but Mr. Joel V. Moran. On this episode of the Pick a Side podcast, episode number 334, we will be discussing the Eagles' 2-game losing streak, Mahomes' temper tantrum, ranking the AFC contenders, and after week 14, our NFL power rankings. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
This squirted on me.
You and your squirting. How are you doing, Mr. Dehls?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. How you doing, fellas? Riv, happy you could show up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Listen, like
the energy is very low from this guy.
I don't know. He walked into the room immediately.
Listen,
I dab him.
I hope, maybe rough day at work. A lot of kids there. A lot of energy gets sucked out of you. But we got to talk about Philly, man. I need some energy there from you because I know I'm gonna get attacked.
Riv, is that what it is?
Get attacked all show long.
Is that what it is? That the agendas didn't go into fruition? You're coming in low energy. You were ready to ride yesterday.
I was ready to go yesterday. I understand we need some notes. Unfortunately, today went by.
You did.
I had a long day today, so the same energy. But I'll try my best to work my way through.
I appreciate that. And like I said,
and wait, my agendas are fine. The Eagles may have fucked up, but best believe Cleveland continues on shining.
Cleveland's up.
Buffalo won, so
I understand.
I'm feeling all right. I'll get some energy in there.
Listen, and like I said, Joel may not be in studio, but damn it, we'll be remiss if we didn't have our brother still on the show. Mr. Joel V. Moran, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Even though I packed my bags and went to Arizona, I'm out here for 3 weeks. I mean, I can't miss the show, especially when things are going in my favor like they are. I mean, we will talk about Sunday Night Football. We will talk about them fraudulent Eagles. We will talk about Jalen Hurts, who spends his time practicing motivational quotes in the mirror.
That's got to be
focusing on cover zero. That's got to be looks. I mean, we'll talk about all of that. But yeah, I'm happy to see you fellas. First episode of the week.
He said he's more focused. Yeah, that is number one. We said over under how many times you would call some racist.
Mine's 3.
No, that's definitely no. I'm with you there. Did you hear what he said? That he's more focused on motivational quotes than he is about winning football games.
I think. I feel like that's more of an attack on Dehls than me.
The motivational quote.
Yeah, because you love Jalen Hurts' motivation. Yeah, I'm just
amazing. It's one of his best traits.
It is one of his best traits.
The leader of men.
I think Joel was getting at that he needs to stop making that his best trait and lock in on the
film.
Is it his best trait?
Trying to figure out
his best trait. But Mr. Riv, we didn't ask you how you're doing. How are you doing? I just want to make sure that we get that out the way. How are you?
I'm good. Long day at work, but I made it.
Okay.
That's all that matters. I made it. Just ready to get to work. I went to the gym last night, so that was a blessing.
Nice.
Guys,
See you there.
Just trying to adjust. Trying to adjust to that. Getting up 6:30 in the morning, 6:15, eating breakfast. Easy. No, it's not. It's terrible, actually.
You eating breakfast?
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that, dude.
How
much salt in those eggs?
What'd you have for breakfast?
I don't eat eggs in the morning.
Okay.
All the time.
Oatmeal?
No. Yesterday I did. This morning I had
chocolate chip cookies.
No. This morning I had some waffles and hot sausage.
Okay.
Some calm shit. Yeah, definitely gotta get some meat in there. Can't forget the meat. But yeah, long day, ready to do it.
And Joel, I know you said you're in Phoenix. But before we get into the show, because of course this is gonna get serious. I already know it's gonna get heated. But Mr. Moran, how is Phoenix? How are you over there? I know you're celebrating the holidays over there.
It's pretty good. Jessica's grandfather gave us a great place to stay. I got my own room to me. I finally was able to set everything up as I please. If anybody watched the Joel Moran show on Sunday, I mean, the quality was terrible. I really feel bad I put that out. But I now have the setup that I feel good with. And the views out here are amazing. The mountains are great. I went hiking yesterday. I'm going to do a lot of cardio now that I'm out here because there's a lot of things to see out here. But yeah, I'm having a really fun time out here. The Wi-Fi is not the best. I'm on a hotspot, but we got that figured out.
Hotspot.
Listen, you could say that the Wi-Fi is not the best. That being said, right now you're looking crispy.
Yeah,
in the comment section are even saying it too. All right, but gentlemen, let's get right into it. First topic of the show, we're gonna have to talk about those Philadelphia Eagles who got worked by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, when we had our conversations on the Patreon episode, that if you guys didn't know, when we record our Patreon episode, we go live on TikTok now.
Join the Patreon, man.
Join the Patreon.
Hit our picks.
And $1 for how much longer, too? I feel like we've been kind about it.
Shit. End of the year.
Listen, if Mr. Dehls says that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to have to be.
Going up, man.
But again, we saw the Philadelphia Eagles fall short against the Dallas Cowboys. They are now on a 2-game skid. Now, when we talk about this 2-game skid, the tough part about it is that they got their ass kicked. It wasn't like this game was close. It wasn't like that game versus the Niners was close. From start to finish, the Philadelphia Eagles looked just like they didn't belong to be on the football field. Now, Mr. Rivio, I'm going to
Yo.
start with you.
Talk to me.
What's your takeaway from this Philadelphia Eagles game? Does it say more about the Dallas Cowboys, or does it speak more about Philadelphia?
I think it speaks more about Dallas's defense.
Okay.
To put on a masterclass it did for sure. I mean, the Eagles offense only scored 6 points, and the offense is high powered and is strong. Goddard was back, the offensive line was there. Everybody was pretty much healthy, and to, shut them down like that. I think the takeaway is this Dallas defense is legit. They have not had Diggs for a long time, but they were able to put on a masterclass. Micah Parsons was able to put on a show. Deron Blanche, Stephon Gilmore, especially, he was really good in his matchup with AJ Brown, and they put on a masterclass. And I think that's the takeaway you have to get. Dak played a clean game.
Definitely
he played a good game for sure. He had the one little sack, but other than that, he played a good game for sure. But I think for the most part, you like I say Dallas, but in the same time, Eagles losing like they did back-to-back weeks. Some people pointed to they were gassed out. Some people pointed to this tough stretch, but in reality, you have to make one of these 2 games competitive. I mean, Dallas was undefeated at home, undefeated, I think, in the last 3 years in Dallas, when they played Philly. But at the same time, you got to make it competitive. And you mentioned it. There was no – Fall Shore is being nice. There was no chance in this game to win this game at all. They had no opportunities, really. There was the one opportunity coming out in the third when they got the strip sack. Jalen Carter scored. You're looking at the score, it's like, all right, it's 12-24, right? That's not terrible. We get a stop here. But they just really – Dallas was able to do, for the most part, whatever they wanted to do. For the instance, I want to talk more about Eagles. I'm sure Joel is going to talk about the Cowboys. But for the Eagles, in my opinion, I feel like Jalen Hurts has been a little bit hesitant. There's been reads there that are easy reads. His first read, he sees it, doesn't make the throw, tries to get more yards. And Dan Orlovsky, shout out to him, man, because I've been watching a lot of him lately because I feel like he's the best at breaking down situations. And he broke down the way Jalen Hurts in that game was. The first read was there, he'll take the tougher read. Or the second read was there, he makes that play last year, he didn't make it this year. And a lot of it has been just him being a little bit hesitant, taking sacks, not trusting his arm, not trusting that first read. I don't know why he's doing it different, but that defense is not good. But even then, I feel like the pass rush has been a little bit overrated at this moment. We caught Dallas on a good run. And Philly is slumping. They just got their ass whipped by the Niners. This defensive front has to be better. They are the backbone of this defense. If they get no pressure, if they don't get to that quarterback, this secondary stands no chance. And that's the difference between Dallas and the Eagles. I feel like that Dallas secondary can hold their own in certain points of the game. Philly secondary has no chance. Their linebackers have no chance. If that pass rush does not make an impact, this defense is pretty much shell-shocked. And if that offense is not, I don't want to say perfect, but if it's not great, then this Eagles team doesn't have a chance. But Dallas did what they needed to do for sure. They put on an impressive performance. But I definitely the takeaway is Dallas's defense is elite. This Dallas defense is going to be tough. And in this division, tied. I looked it up. We do have the tiebreaker if we both went out. We have like the 4th tiebreaker goes that far. So Dallas has to hope we lose either Seattle, drop one to the Giants, or drop one to Arizona. But they also have to take care of business. They head out to Buffalo, who's on fire right now. So they also have to take care of business. But if I'm Dallas, I am confident in either we go out to Philly or we come out to Dallas. This defense will be able to hold up. And if I'm Philly, enough of the quotes, enough of the bullshit motivational speeches, enough of the dumbass, we got to be better, enough of the analogies. They're stupid. We don't care about them no more. We just got our ass whipped by the Niners. We just got our ass whipped by Dallas. Now it's time to, instead of saying, let's look in the mirror, no, let's really go into practice, figure out what's going on, and let's work this shit out. You got Seattle, you got Giants, you got Cardinals. Nothing really insane outside of Seattle, so you don't have any real test. Giants are they have been playing better, I'll admit, but you have a couple get-right games before the playoffs, so you need to secure, if not the first seed, the second seed at least.
I'm with you, man. This is shit. There's a lot to get to with this Philly game. First, got to credit Dallas. It feels like it's gonna be a lot of the same shit we said last week from 49ers game, but the same way we credited Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, you got to have the same credit for Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. They went out there and Dak took a pretty strong stranglehold in my opinion, in the MVP race. We've been waiting for really 2 months now, since that big loss to San Francisco for the loss to Philly, because the Cowboys have had all of these great games. Dak has had all these statistical games. Then you go back, and I'm saying it, everyone in the world saying it, it's like, okay, you're going up, being up in the bad teams, but let's get that real signature win. Let's get that win over a Philly or over another contender so we can really take you seriously. And they did that. Holding the Eagles to 6 points on offense, the fact that the defense outscored the offense is not something I was expecting. I thought this was a game that Philly would be able to move the ball. I knew defensively they were going to struggle because Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy, this offense has been one of the best, if not, top 2 in the league, them in San Francisco, Miami in there as well all season long. And Dak's done a masterful job. They were talking about it really all game long about how he's mastered the footwork of this offense and this West Coast style, how he's able to, just hit that back foot, boom, hit the read. If it's not there, take off or find someone else. So Dak's done a phenomenal job, but I'm looking at Philly, and there's some real problems with this offense. I know Joel's going to call me a JT O'Sullivan merchant, but I watch damn near every analysis with Jalen Hurts when it goes in.
So is he.
Hey, no slouch here. JT O'Sullivan is one of the best content creators out there, but he's been saying this for months now, where whether it's Kelsey, whether it's Jalen Hurts, they don't have an answer for cover zero. And it's almost not an answer in terms of play calling, but it's at the line of scrimmage when typically when you're facing cover zero, you don't want to get beat up the middle. You don't want to get beat by the center, by the guard. You want to get beat on the outside because that's the longest path it takes for the defender to get to the quarterback. If you're getting beat right up the middle, unless you have some really special quickness and agility like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, it's going to be really hard to evade that. Jalen Hurts is one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league, but he's not fast or super quick, right? He's more strength and being able to run over you than kind of evade rushers coming right up the middle. Yep. You saw that all game long. When Dallas was sending cover zero, when they were all out blitzing and just playing man across the board, the Eagles had no answer. You have guys who can win on the outside with A.J. Brown, with Smitty, as you mentioned, Goddard was back. So you have guys that can win one-on-one coverage, but when the defense is getting there so quickly, you don't have a chance. And when you pile that up with 3 turnovers, you have Jalen Hurts fumble, you have A.J. Brown fumble, Smitty fumble, your 3 best players on offense, all making key mistakes at different points in the game. I mean, you have the Dallas go down their first drive, boom, touchdown. Philly's driving down the field. Hurts just makes this great play where he's scrambling to the left, hits Smitty over the middle of the field. They're like, okay, this is the Philly offense we've been seeing. Couple plays later, you run a quarterback draw. Jalen Hurts ends up fumbling the ball, and that kind of just sucks the life out of the offense. And it was almost the epitome of what this game was, because we don't got to sugarcoat it. Philly got their ass beat. I do this upcoming week, because the original question of this topic was, has the Cowboys overtaken the Eagles for the second best team in the NFC? This upcoming week, when Dallas has to go to Buffalo, this is going to show us a lot, because right now Dallas is undefeated at home. I think when they're playing indoors on that turf, you really see this offense being able to hit on all cylinders. Now going into Buffalo, having to win that game and potentially bad weather, how that weather gets, because I'm still under the impression that the 1 and 2 seed is going to be San Francisco and Philly. Like you mentioned, Riv, if Philly wins out, they will have the tiebreaker. So San Francisco will likely get that 1 seed. Everything runs through them. But Philly with that 2nd seed, that means Dallas will have a home game probably
first round.
Or no, because they'd be a wild card team. So they might be on the road. They'd be like 11-12 win wild card team, but they'd be on the road the entire playoff. So if they do have to go to Philly, do have to go to San Francisco, maybe this offense isn't clicking as much as they have been when they're playing at home. But we saw them against Dallas just a few weeks ago, where that was a neck and neck game, in Philly a couple weeks ago, where there was a neck and neck game that came right down to the wire, and the offense did look good. But I'm still looking at San Francisco, of course, as the best team in the NFC. But I definitely have some questions about Philly. It's been the defense primarily throughout the season. But now these last 2 weeks, the way that these defenses have really keened in on pressuring Jalen Hurts, if you're able to take away those big plays from A.J. Brown and turn the ball over, you're going to be able to beat Philly. You're going to be able to beat any team in the NFL if you're pressuring the quarterback, taking away deep shots, and getting turnovers. So Philly's got to clean stuff up offensively, because if they're not scoring a lot of points, they're not going to be able to make a deep playoff run.
So concerned or not about Philadelphia?
In terms of what? Like not
the
making
big
the
picture.
NFC champion? Oh, the big picture? Yeah, because of the Niners.
Okay.
Sure.
Concerned or not?
Sure. Yeah, the Niners, to me, are the clear favorite not just to win the NFC, but the Super Bowl. I mean, Brock Purdy's playing out of his mind. The defense looks phenomenal. I don't really see a real weakness. I think Joel would mention, which is fair, Brock Purdy coming from behind if he's in that situation. But I'm looking at the rest of the NFC. Dallas looks like the second best team right now, the way they've been playing. But, still got a month left of the season, still got playoffs to ride with. But, man, those 49ers look so damn good.
They are. They're a near perfect squad. Now, who does this tell me more about, the Eagles or Dallas? To me, it's pretty simple. Dallas, because what we've known about the Eagles, it has been their problem all season long, and it's going to be that defense. Now, Dallas offensively, outside of that play where, yes, they were able to sack him, return it for a touchdown, get their only touchdown of the game. When you look at it from this sense, we've known that the Eagles' weakness has been their defense. Now, the last couple of weeks, we've seen their offense struggle, and that's definitely a concern, especially when it's against the two teams in the NFC that if you're the Eagles, you're worrying most about. You're not really thinking too much about the teams underneath them. It was these games versus the Niners and the Cowboys that was going to tell us a lot about Philadelphia. Now, I made that mistake against the Niners, thinking that the Eagles, even at home, where I felt like that would be the reason why they'd come out on top, I felt like the Eagles had a chance to win that game. They came up short. I wasn't making that same mistake when it came to Dallas this time around. When we've had our discussions about Philadelphia and Dallas, whether or not Dallas can beat the Philadelphia Eagles, I felt, hey, look at that first game when they played in Lincoln Field. They were a touchdown away, and the Eagles didn't look that dominating offensively, and specifically defensively. Dak and company was able to do whatever that they wanted. Now you look at this game. Pollard looked really solid. Getting him involved in the pass game these last few weeks has been a huge boost to their offense. Jake Ferguson looks to be like the reliable number 2 option on that team as well. We don't have to talk about CeeDee Lamb, but if you want to, I understand. He's been special, number 3 in yards this season. Another week, another touchdown for CD. He continues to be one of the more dominant receivers in this game. Dallas's team right now is clicking on all cylinders, and why it says more to me about Dallas is because a big narrative on their team was, can they beat a great team in the National Football League? You mentioned that they're undefeated at home. Yes, a lot of these games have been against opponents that are inferior to Dallas. The best competition you could say in this run was Seattle, and that game was close, no doubt about it. And that defense wasn't questioned the most, but against Philadelphia, they executed a great game plan. They made some timely plays, forcing 3 fumbles on Philadelphia's 3 big playmakers, Jalen, AJ, and Smitty, like you mentioned. You look at AJ too, and he was getting himself all riled up with this matchup with Stephon Gilmore. It came out that AJ Brown called Stephon old, and that lit a fire under Stephon. And
don't call him old.
Look at that
receiver. Don't call Stephon.
You look at that stat line for AJ Brown: 9 catches, 94 yards. To any receiver, that's a great day, and even for AJ Brown, that's a great day. I'd be damned if I didn't get left feeling as if that was the quietest 9 for 94 I've ever seen. Stephon Gilmore seemed to just have the upper hand, forcing that fumble as well, understanding that Dallas's defense did make Philadelphia's offense look pedestrian on top of it. I felt like Stephon Gilmore won the matchup. And also A.J. Brown dropping that pass that Jalen Hurts dropped in right on the dime. And Smitty not only fumbling, but also dropping that touchdown where, hey, if you want to say it was a little bit overthrown, that's fine, especially because I was here when Mahomes slightly overthrew MVS.
Smitty usually catches
but that's why I hit him in the hands too.
I'll be honest, though, that was more of an overthrow than Mahomes. Smitty really got like just one hand and like this, you know what I mean? Like his fingers on it.
I won't disagree too much with you. But again, when it comes to how I'm left feeling after this game, I feel a lot better in Dallas because now we look at this offense, especially against a division rival. The Eagles defense is so bad that I don't expect that would be a struggle. But when it comes to playing the Niners, it's still a question for me. But yes, Joel, you're right. This is the top 2 teams in the National Football Conference. Now, Mr. Moran, I know you've been licking your chops waiting to go.
Let's hear it.
Talk to me.
Praise.
Are you left feeling stronger about the Eagles or stronger about the Cowboys?
It's obviously the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are a better team than Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's plain and simple. I think you saw it in the first matchup where the Eagles came away with the win, but you can argue the Cowboys outplayed them in every facet in that game. The second half, the Eagles came out way stronger. And in this one, it wasn't a competition. You can blame it on the turnovers. You could blame it on whatever else. I think the Cowboys were way more prepared. On the first drive of the game, the Cowboys drive down the field. The first drive for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts fumbles. A.J. Brown fumbles later in that ball game. That field goal they had in the first half of the game, that was the first points for them in this game, was made because of a fake punt converted by Braden Mann to Zacchaeus.
Jet legend.
The Eagles have not found their identity. And this is why they're not going to go back to the Super Bowl. And this is why everybody should be concerned about them. They're not able to handle cover zero pressure looks. Brian Johnson has been a huge downgrade as a play caller from Shane Steichen. And I know all eyeballs want to be pointed at Jalen Hurts, but Brian Johnson is an underwhelming offensive play caller, and there are not many easy buttons in this offense. For as great as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have been, they don't create enough separation for their guys with the play calls that are in this offense currently. Then what was the Eagles' biggest strength these last 2 seasons? Their play in the trenches. Jalen Hurts' first year as a starter, they were a dominant Russian football team. Last year, they were a dominant Russian football team. This year, they have not been a dominant Russian football team. And I look at the Eagles and I say, I don't know what your identity is. I don't think they have a clear identity for how they want to play on offense. And too often than not, Jalen Hurts is making things tougher for him than anything else. Because I'm looking at multiple times on film where there are cover zero looks and Jalen Hurts has easy and quick outs on the offense. Instead, he's settling for a goal ball down the field to A.J. Brown instead of getting a quick, easy completion. Or sometimes he's late on throws. The Dallas Cowboys, I think, are proven to be the second best team in the NFC. And I understand that it's very easy to bet on the 49ers. The 49ers look dominant. And yeah, I don't think they have a clear weakness right now. Brock Purdy, from the beginning of the season to now, has grown tremendously as a quarterback. And I trust Brock Purdy. I think he'll be fine. The weakness with the 49ers, I think, is maybe something doesn't go their way in terms of the turnover battle in some type of game. But the best matchup for them are the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think the Eagles can beat the Cowboys again, or they can't beat the 49ers. And I think it's about time we start giving the Cowboys their respect, because Mike McCarthy, when he fired Kellen Moore, everybody said Kellen Moore made this offense. He made Dak Prescott. Now we know Dak Prescott's having his best season ever with Mike McCarthy in his West Coast offense. He's the most comfortable he's ever been. He might win MVP this year. And when you look at some of the stats that the Cowboys have this year, they have I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, 15 straight home wins, which dates back to last year. They have won 8 or more games this year by 20 points, which is setting a franchise record. Mike McCarthy with the Cowboys in 4 seasons is 40-23, which is tied for the most wins since Barry Switzer for the Cowboys in a coach's first 4 seasons. Mike McCarthy didn't get his respect in Green Bay because he was coaching Aaron Rodgers, but many forget that he was a pivotal part in Aaron Rodgers' development. Many people wrote him off, and a common word that I use thrown around for Mike McCarthy is his inability to adapt, his stubbornness. But since week 5, when I thought the Cowboys offense was very stale, they've added much more emotion to it. CeeDee Lamb has gotten involved. Jake Ferguson, Brandon Cooks, everybody is starting to get more involved, and this offense feels more free. So I think Mike McCarthy deserves a lot of credit for his success in Green Bay now in hindsight, and the success he's having in Dallas. The 49ers are a juggernaut. It's really hard to bet against them. But this year is not the same year for the Cowboys. This year does not feel the same. There's something a little magical. There's some pixie dust in the air for the Cowboys. And before the season, I had this team going to the Super Bowl. If they had Trayvon Diggs, oh boy. If they had Trayvon Diggs still, I'm picking them to go.
All right, Joel,
Listen,
calm down. Calm down over there.
I think the Cowboys, yeah, they got a real shot to go to the Super Bowl. The Eagles, they don't got a chance.
Now, when we were coming up with the topics, right? I knew something like this was going to happen. So in the topic list, I said, are the Dallas Cowboys going to the Super Bowl? Joel, are the Dallas Cowboys going to the Super Bowl? Yes or no, sir?
I'm picking them to go to the Super Bowl. I am. I think this Cowboys team is different.
What's your opinion on that?
I just find it funny as fuck, because I think everything you said about Eagles versus Cowboys is fine. That's nothing. I didn't win. So I was watching the one thing that knocked my noggin, the one thing that kind of woke me up was like, I think Dallas is the team that can beat the Niners. And that's the thing that confused me because they beat them by 40 and then got better since that moment. They got Chase Young. Debo got back healthy. Brock Purdy got better from that. Like,
you could also say Dallas got better.
No, for sure they did. But I feel like the Niners have shown that a little bit more by beating the Jaguars by 30 points, beating Philly by 30 points. So my question to you, Joel, is I did laugh because it was a little funny. But what makes you what's giving you the confidence outside of this Eagles game? Because the Niners did the same thing that the Cowboys did and have done much more in terms of beating the Cowboys, like beating both NFC top teams like that. So what gives you the confidence that this team right now, the team that the Cowboys didn't even play, they didn't play this Niners team, and I think they're a much better team than that before. What gives you the confidence that this is the team that can beat the Niners? If you just mentioned it, they're a juggernaut. They're probably easily the best team in the league right now.
This is a different Dallas Cowboys football team. And I look at the 49ers' biggest weakness. It's their offensive line. Trent Williams is as steady as they come. He will have that side locked down, and they probably will help the right tackle by chipping George Kittle and whoever's on the right side. But what Dallas has been doing is that they've been lining up Micah Parsons across the line. So Micah is going to get favorable matchups either on the inside or on the Niners' right tackle. And if they can get pressure on Brock Purdy, I think that can throw off the timing of the Niners offense. Week 5 was a dominant performance. The 49ers beat the brakes off the Cowboys. But in my lifetime, I remember seeing a lot of blowouts in a regular season. And come playoff time, teams come back and they get their lick back. I mean, the Cowboys, I think this is a different team. I hear Micah Parsons saying after on his podcast on Bleacher Report that next time they see the Niners, they're going to be better. They're going to be more prepared. And I kind of buy into that. I kind of buy into this new mindset.
I'll say this. I do think the Cowboys versus the Niners will be a lot better than that first meeting. Yeah, I will take the Niners. I'm going to take the Niners.
I would hope that. It's just like they've beaten them at every level of their life as we've seen
last 3 years.
So they've owned them, and they keep. And as much as Dallas, and this is no slight to Dallas, Dallas has gotten better from that point on. Dallas has been grooving, and they showed that last night or 2 days ago. But also, what we're forgetting is the Niners got better from that blowout too. They're the ones that blew out Dallas and then got better. So I don't know where's the
they both got better. Yeah, they both got better. But I think that for Dallas, and we could talk about the last 3 years, and it feels like every Cowboys fan. Listen, nobody here is up here as Cowboys fans, but every Cowboys fan every year says this is our year. So I think that's what made me laugh when he said this feels different, because I feel like every year when we're talking about Dallas, people are always saying this is different. But I'll be up here lying. I'm taking my L on Mike McCarthy. I'm taking my L on Kellen Moore. I'll take that because I thought going into this, like Joel said,
What'd you say?
That I thought
just
Kellen
say it
Moore.
Out loud. Just say it out loud.
I don't know.
Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott.
I'm not even saying that because I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But I'm saying Mike McCarthy being one of the better offensive minds in the NFL. Leading right now, I believe it's the number 1 ranked scoring offense. It's either them or the 49ers. They're 1 and 2 basically all season. I didn't know Mike McCarthy would be able to do this. I thought he was, like Joel mentioned, kind of a rugged coach who wasn't always, quick to change and use motion and things that we've seen work in the NFL. But he's been doing that, and it's not a slight to him because he had success with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. But I was keen in on those last few years in Green Bay where every single year, everyone was having them in that Super Bowl conversation, and every single year they would come up short. A lot of times, again, to the San Francisco 49ers, even with Aaron Rodgers. But McCarthy's done a great job. I do think that this is the best chance they have to beat San Francisco.
In San Fran.
It's the best chance. They won't. I don't think they'll do it, but I think this is the best chance they have because this is the best Dak Prescott's played in his career. Sure. This is one of the best coaching performances, in my opinion, I think Mike McCarthy has had in his career. You have CeeDee Lamb playing the best football of his career. You have a defense that's been playing pretty well all season long, although against some bottom-level competition. That Seattle game still is going to stick in my mind where, they didn't have a great game there. Bounced back, though, against Philly and had a great game against them.
They were able to overcome against Seattle. Defense wasn't great, but the offense went tit for tat with them.
Yeah, but I trust this Dallas offense, man. It's hard not to.
The only team, well, let me say this. The only team right now with both an offense and defense top 7 since week 6, that game versus the Chargers, We're talking
After their
about
bye, right?
No, this is before their bye. So that game versus the Chargers, then they hit their bye week 7.
Oh, yeah,
so from that point on, the game that we look at and think, hey, this was the moment that Dak Prescott and this offense for the Cowboys turned it around. We're talking about the number 1 offense in terms of EPA per play. And we're talking about Dak Prescott, the number 1 quarterback in terms of EPA per play. And defensively, top 7.
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing at an amazing level right now.
But Brendan Audrey, who's turned into
one of the best kicker in
NFL.
football. Honestly, if you said he was the best kicker, he probably has been. He hasn't missed this
special
year.
teams is hitting, offense is hitting, defense is hitting.
The only thing the only thing he's missed this season were extra points. I think he has 2 missed extra points.
That's hilarious.
But
or hit 50 yards.
No, he was on one. But when you just take a step back and look at the San Francisco 49ers, the way that Brock Purdy's playing, the way that Deebo Samuel has elevated since returning. In my opinion, I understand that Ayuk had
140.
Yeah.
Deebo had 130, and CMC had 140.
Yep. I look at the versatility of that offense.
Crazy.
That's why it makes them so unstoppable.
And I think Kittle had 100 too.
But Joel, I asked this to you because I know your opinion on Brandon Ayuk. You've definitely been here for the hype train, but I still firmly believe that the best wide receiver on that team is Deebo Samuel for the versatility that he provides.
Wide receiver or weapon?
I think weapon.
If it's weapon, I'm going CMC.
But I'm saying out of those two,
just those two.
Like even you got Kittle, I think weapon makes more sense. Wide receiver,
I do think
Ayuk's a better wide receiver.
route runner.
The thing is, it's not like Deebo doesn't have amazing route tree of his own.
Ayuk
He
is
still
like
has
top
some
5.
great hands. No, for sure. His separation
right,
that he's getting is ridiculous. But again, what he's able to do after the catch, just how shifty he is on top of it, how strong he is, and his ability to break tackles, is also the work that he gets in the backfield. I think that when we see Deebo Samuel healthy, it's kind of as if they allowed last year to fog people's memory on who Deebo Samuel was just the year before that.
Sounds to me like just Brock Purdy make players better, man.
I mean,
one of them ones,
you definitely can get into that conversation.
Something about that guy, man. You know, he just makes Ayuk a top 12 receiver. You know, brings Deebo back to life. Ah, man.
I wouldn't say Deebo was gone, though. I just think that Deebo was not healthy.
Niners fans were definitely calling for him to go.
Which was ridiculous to me. Because the only thing I'll say is prior to his breakout season 2 years ago, the issue was that he couldn't stay on the field. But when we finally saw him 100%, we saw him play at a top 5 level. Last year also was banged up. And when he was on the field, he wasn't as productive, nowhere near as productive. But this year, for the rest of the season, how can I anticipate anything other than Deebo Samuel to be great so long as he's on that football field?
Now he's looked great. He's looking insane.
Brandon Ayuk is a better receiver than Deebo Samuel. I love Deebo, and I've been a big fan of Deebo. In fact, we had that debate a long time ago whether we're taking Deebo or DK or AJ, and I was very high on Deebo before he had his breakout season, before he was an all-pro. Brandon Ayuk is a better receiver. Deebo gets a lot of mismatches because they move him across their offense all the time. He's in the backfield matched up against a linebacker, or in the slot matched up against a nickel corner or a safety. Brandon Ayuk is getting one-on-one coverages against top flight cornerbacks, and he is having his way. Deebo Samuel, I would say he has a good route tree. Like he doesn't have the route tree of Brandon Ayuk, though. I mean, Deebo Samuel can win intermediate. At times he can win over the top with a good matchup. But Brandon Ayuk, I mean, every route in the book, in the route tree, he runs at one of the best levels in the NFL, whether it's a corner route, whether it's a dig, whether it's a comeback, whether it's a curl, whether it's a seam, whether it's a slant. I mean, everything Ayuk is at the top of the league at. And listen, the 49ers have an offensive supporting cast of monsters, and I want to just make this clear. I think very early on, I took credit away from Brock Purdy when he had these guys, because early on, he was making a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of turnover-worthy plays in his game. But these past couple of weeks, there have been more big-time throws. He has been limiting mistakes more. I don't know if Brock Purdy's making Ayuk better. I think Ayuk has always been great. What needed to catch up with him was the discipline aspect, which was blocking. And I think now he has turned into one of the best blockers at the position. But we're talking about an offense that features 4 all-pros. I think because they're all on the same offense, they all can't be an all-pro. But George Kittle is capable of putting up top 2 tight end numbers every year. He just sacrifices for the offense. He's an all-pro. Deebo's an all-pro. I think Ayuk is an all-pro caliber player. CMC is an all-pro. And Trent Williams, we know, has been one of the better left tackles in the NFL. Brock Purdy's playing really well. I think Ayuk is a better receiver among him and Deebo Samuel because I just trust him to win one-on-one matchups against better corners more consistently. But I want to say this about Dallas, and this is what Riv asked me earlier in terms of what gives me hope. The regular season isn't the end-all, be-all. I mean, I'm a Jets fan, and this happened a very long time ago. The Patriots smoked us when we went to the AFC Championship, and we beat the Patriots on the road to go there. We beat them. And I feel like sometimes when teams dominate you in the regular season, you are more hyped up for the second matchup because you want to show that you can beat that team. There's no denying the 49ers have been the Cowboys boogeyman, but the year that Tom Brady won a Super Bowl in 2020, the Saints were the boogeyman for the Buccaneers. They beat them 38-3 in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, the Bucs got their get back. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we could be looking come playoff time for a very competitive Cowboys and Niners game. And there's a chance the Cowboys can come out on top. I think they're the best matchup for the Niners. The Eagles defense is too wishy-washy for me to have any faith in them containing a top-flight offense. The Cowboys offense, sometimes offenses can get their way on their defense, but for the most part, you trust the personnel they have out there, and you trust Dan Quinn. They're the best matchup, but their run defense does scare me a little bit. I just want to make that point on Dallas. The regular season isn't the end-all, be-all when it comes to who dominates who.
Yeah, I just think the difference is that Jets defense, when we got smoked by the Pats, you had the personnel. Like the Jets defense that year was one of the best in the league, and they had a terrible game. Remember, Jim Leonard ended up getting injured. He was like the signal caller for that defense when we end up losing 45-3. I don't think Philly's got the personnel. That's the bigger issue than anything. I don't think it's even matchup dependent. I think it doesn't matter if you go against San Francisco, Detroit, Dallas, whoever it is, the opposing offense can be able to score. Like I really don't have much faith at all unless they're able to attack the quarterback, get sacks, and turn the ball over. Like if the quarterbacks don't have any sort of time, I just really don't trust this pass defense. You know, run defense is one thing. I think they do a decent job at least limiting that. But if teams just going to keen in on, we could throw the ball all day over these guys. I mean, you don't have to run the ball a ton. It's not like Tony Pollard's out there rushing for 150 yards. He had a good game, had some big plays. And this even felt like, I know they won by, 20-some points, but this was like not the cleanest Dak Prescott game. Like we've seen so many better Dak Prescott games. He missed a couple of throws, but they still 7 of 9 drives ended in points. They were 9-16 third down, 36 to 24 minutes of time possession. I think that's huge. You know, Joel mentioned it, kind of a lack of identity from Philly. These last 2-3 years, it's been dominant time possession, run the ball, you know, give the defense some rest. Defense is out there 36 damn minutes. That's going to make a bad defense look even worse. So overall, you know, credit to Dallas. They, they beat their ass.
Now another NFC team.
Oh,
did play this weekend.
I just want to say something.
Oh, it's still related to Eagles and
I just want to say something. Dallas gets their credit. You know, they beat us. Niners whipped their ass last week. I think it's interesting, and I think it's with all due. You know, I think it's very opportunist that people are just counting us out, and I understand it.
You like that?
I understand it. You know, we lost to the Niners. We lost to the Cowboys. Before that, we was on a 5-game win streak. They still counted us.
Don't forget the 6 hardest games. I said this on the Fantasy Reaction. Yeah. You had 6 really tough games against damn near Super Bowl caliber teams, or in that bubble at least, with Miami, Dallas twice, Kansas City, Buffalo. Go 4-2.
Yeah, like I said, you go 4-2. The 4 wins were great. The 2 losses were horrendous.
And I think that's where the noise is coming from. And that's what I said. I understand it. I understand it. It's justified. All I want to say is don't sleep on us. Don't forget, there's not just 2 teams in the NFC. We're going to be sitting right there in the second round. And if we play Dallas, that's going to be a dogfight. If we play the Niners, God bless our soul. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is don't sleep on us. Don't forget, there's still another top team in the NFC. We're not the Lions. I'm going to keep saying that. We're not the Lions. We're not Seattle. We'll be back.
That's why, again, the number 2 seed is going to be important because Dallas could, probably wins round 1. They'll be heavy favorites no matter who they play, I'm assuming. But round 2, they might have to go to San Francisco right away off a bye. That's something you want to avoid if you can.
Now, you mentioned the Lions, as you don't believe that the Eagles are the Lions. Now, the Lions were just upset by the Chicago Bears on the road.
Upset. Good pick,
I say upset, thank you, because I felt as if nobody here believed that the Lions would lose, except me, even though I'm the guy who supports the Lions the most here, ironically. And now there's being questions asked, or now some of the Lions' problems are being more emphasized than they have in the past because they lost to the Chicago Bears, a team that we anticipate to be very high in the draft order, but very sneakily, I think Chicago Bears are not as bad as their record says. Their defense has been playing at a very high level. And with Justin Fields, you trust that this offense can be competent, and DJ Moore plays at an insane level. But let's stay on task with the Detroit Lions. Last night, we watched the Miami Dolphins
2 great games
blow a 15-point lead in the last 13 minutes of the game. Last 3 minutes of the game to the Tennessee Titans. A very tough loss that I had to watch, that I watched. The Dolphins defense that has been great for multiple weeks now, was even great in this game versus Tennessee, had moments of being great, was getting to the quarterback, just couldn't finish enough of the job down the stretch of the game, caused turnovers, made Will Levis look a little bit uncomfortable early on, but then suddenly something happened. Tennessee's offense kind of flipped the switch. We saw DeAndre Hopkins look prime. D-Hop make some insane catches, got away with a little OPI on an Xavier Howard, but regardless, was still able to dominate. Derrick Henry wasn't efficient. I think 17 for just under 35 yards, but was still able to get into the end zone twice. Now, both of these teams did lose this weekend. Which team are you worried about more, the Lions or the Dolphins, Mr. Dehls?
I want to hear your answer, Drew. I want to hear Drew's answer.
I would love to go first.
Listen, my answer is easy. If you want to go first, I'll defer.
I got a lot of slack for putting them as the 20s.
You had them 20. They're not 20. They're not 20.
They're top 15.
I understand that was, but I felt like we could come.
They're
to
not 20.
No, listen. That's what I'm saying.
They're not 20, but they're not 1.
That's what I'm saying. I understand.
Never had them 1.
I understand. I was a little crazy for putting them in the 20s. But you had them a little too high.
They were
had them a little too low.
I came to the season at 9.
So I'm saying I feel like that's still a little too high. I feel like we can come to a
Are Detroit in your top 10
for power rankings?
Yes.
I guarantee you it
if they are like 9.
A lot of injuries have happened and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think the answer is very easily the Detroit Lions. And I think it's not just because of team construct. I think you have to also look at the landscape of where you're at, the landscape of who you're going to play. And I think that is most important. I always look at that more than I look at the team, because I think both teams are not similar, but I think Miami has a much more explosive offense. I think both offenses lack that experience at the quarterback in high-level moments in the playoffs. I think Jared Goff has shown you this year that he can lose you a game and he can sometimes make stupid decisions. I think Tua hasn't shown you that elevation yet in those high-level moments.
Tragic.
And I think, a lot of things went wrong in that Titans game. Their whole offensive line pretty much got banged up. Tyreek went out. So I'm not looking at that too much. I'm really focused on them defenses, because I think defensively, Miami had a stretch where they were playing good, they were healthy and stuff like that. And then against the Titans, they kind of put up a dud. 14 in 3 minutes is kind of nuts against the Titans and Will Levis. That shit is actually embarrassing. You should actually really look at that.
No, trust me, I did, insane. And I was hurt.
But then Detroit's defense, ever since Baltimore put the belt to the ass, they have not been the same. Baltimore really knocked their defense back millenniums. It's insane how bad they've been since Baltimore whipped their ass. So, and I look at the landscape. Detroit, I don't think has a chance to beat the Eagles, the Cowboys, or the Niners. I think the Eagles would probably give them, because their defense, they can probably score up and down. But I think in the AFC, you look at Kansas City. Their offense is vulnerable. Of course, you trust Mahomes and Reed, but do you trust anybody outside of them? Kelsey looks old and banged up. Their wide receivers, Rashee Rice is good, but he's not the same consistent player. Do you trust Baltimore? Yes and no. Lamar, the experience, obviously, and then Zay Flowers, a rookie. Odell, he's past his prime, obviously. Offensively, maybe, right? Do you trust Cleveland? No, they don't have a quarterback. Do you trust Cincinnati if they get in? Is Joe Burrow playing? We don't know. Do you trust Buffalo? You probably trust Josh Allen, yes, but that defense, you can still go up and down the field on.
Yep.
So there's so many questions with every team. I can keep going, but there's so many questions with every team in the AFC. The reason why I don't lean Miami is because they can catch a team on a bad night. They can catch a team where the matchup is dependent. In the NFC for Detroit, I just feel like there's not a real matchup that can get them to their inevitable goal. And that's obviously, I think, getting out the first round. I think they can lose to the Rams in the first round. I think that's a matchup that they could be scared of. Seattle, if they get in.
He's in on the Ram League.
If Seattle, if they get in, Seattle could upset them. So I think Detroit has more opportunities to be upsetted. And I think their defense is a real concern. That's for Miami. You know, it had a bad day, but they have Jalen Ramsey, Bradley Chubb, Xavier Howard, you know, Christian Wilkins. Like, they have guys that you understand can make plays. That's for Detroit. Outside of Aiden Hutchinson, I don't think they have any. And even then, we haven't seen him in the playoffs. What is he going to do? You know, you can easily scheme up against them. They just don't have enough stars on that side. So for me, the answer is easily the Detroit Lions.
If you think I'm going to get up on this microphone and talk on the Miami Dolphins, you're out of your mind. I can talk about how they definitely blew it last night. 15 points. I think there's no team in NFL history. I think they were 0 and over 700. I think it was like 753, if I'm not mistaken.
That's hilarious.
With that type of situation, no team has ever come back and won. For the first time in NFL history, they were able to accomplish that feat yesterday. It was definitely tough to sit there. I'm not going to even argue that. It was definitely tough to see that defense collapse the way that they did, and Will Levis put on a masterclass against a Miami defense that has played great for these last few weeks since that game versus Kansas City. But you look at the injuries that Miami did go through last night alone. Connor Williams, torn ACL, out for the season. We saw Tyreek in and out of the lineup. Already in a game where Teron Armstead, Robert Hunt did not play. Their three best offensive linemen injured and not playing in that game. Of course, the Tennessee Titans were going to get pressure on Tua. Tua has been one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League. That is a credit to him and his ability to make quick reads and get the ball out quickly. But they were just swarming him with pressure all game long, really was not able to get comfortable. And especially once Tyreek came out of the game, the offense definitely looked lackluster. But you can also look at when Tyreek was in the game for his 1-2 drives, they still only put up 3 points. So their offense still was able to move vertically when Tyreek was on the field. Then they had that fumble in the red zone. And then when they were in the red zone, we saw Tennessee use its strength where they are the best red zone defense in football. Are you watching the Lakers right now?
No, I'm watching Celtics and
we're getting Cavs.
Garland just fucked White up. Like, it was crazy. Like,
that's tough because Derek White's been OD this
he's
season.
Yeah, just fucked him up. I'll show him later. Don't worry.
So when it comes to red zone defense,
remember that message in the group chat, Derek White, right? Yeah.
What did you say about Derek White?
I say it's better than Garland.
Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah. Look at that now. You're fucked, buddy.
But when it comes to red zone defense, the Tennessee Titans are number one. And on the opposite side, Miami Dolphins, when it comes to scoring in the red zone, they're also the number one defense. I mentioned early in the season, there's been no quarterback outside of Russell Wilson better than Tua Tagovailoa in the red zone. But for whatever reason, when they got into the red zone in that first half and early in the second half, they would run, and then suddenly they would not use Mostert. They would not get a chain involved. But once they got these turnovers near the red zone, then that's when Mostert was, of course, able to punch it in. He got his 2 scores and also helping feed the narrative that running backs can have success post-30. Yeah, ironically enough, Mostert, who struggled with injuries his entire career, he's finally putting it together and having himself a career year. But the play calling was pretty questionable last night, especially down the stretch, 3rd and 3, calling a screen pass there, not being aggressive, trying to move the ball down, to get, of course, the first down that would ultimately put the game out of reach, to turn the ball back over to your defense that had already been getting gashed all second half long. I definitely look at McDaniel, but then, of course, you have to look at my guy Tua. Has the chance to go down the field and put his team in a position to kick the game-winning field goal. The pressure was just too much in terms of just the actual pressure that he was getting felt. The offensive line wasn't able to hold up. He wasn't able to get the ball out in time. And then, of course, they turn it over on downs. Tua takes a sack to end the game, essentially. But you look at the Detroit Lions. This is the team to be more concerned about because they're actually not good at a level. I still look at the Miami Dolphins. I still believe that their defense can be good. They definitely were missing Javon Holland. That's definitely a huge loss for them. And Jalen Phillips, for him being out for the season, that's going to hurt. But it's not as if they played bad for the entire game. That's not the case at all. Defense fell off in the second half, no doubt, but made some timely plays in the first. Now, Detroit's defense is horrendous. Their secondary is not good. They really can't get that much pressure. They were a great run defense early on in the season. That's seemingly gone. They're not a good rush defense by any means. And now we're seeing Jared Goff have to shoulder a good amount of the load offensively or just as the team at all for them to have any chance to play winning football. And he hasn't been able to do so. You look at the Chicago Bears, their defense has been playing at a high level. I've stated that multiple times on this show before. And if you watch the fantasy reaction. So I didn't feel the most confident with the Lions coming in to this matchup regardless. But for Jared Goff to go out there and lay the dud that he did, it just only lays the foundation moving forward with the Lions that, yeah, this team is probably going to host a playoff game. Yes, this team probably will win the division. But like Joel mentioned on his last overreaction for last week, they are closer to a first-round exit than they are the NFC Championship. That is a pretty easy statement to make. It wasn't an overreaction then. It's not an overreaction now. This defense seemingly is not good. However, you can go into next season, address those holes. Understand we do need people in the secondary. We need one more pass rusher, and we need one more edge rusher. And honestly, there's been a move that's been circulating all around Twitter that I think is definitely not happening. If this team were to do this, it would just only speak more volumes to how poverty they are as a franchise. If I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm doing everything in my power to go and get Justin Herbert on my team because Jared Goff obviously is not going to elevate our team to where it needs to be or where we want it to go if I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have Jameson Williams, whose talent's being wasted over there because my quarterback just cannot sling it deep down the field. It seems as if my offense just does not get him involved enough. Josh Reynolds has a connection with Jared Goff. I have no doubt in my mind that Justin Herbert can come in here and obviously elevate all these guys the same way that Jared Goff is, except he would only reach a higher level. And Samuel Porter, we understand the talent that he is with the Jahmyr Gibbs, with the David Montgomery, with that great offensive line that the Detroit Lions have. If I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm doing everything I can humanly possible to get Herbert on my team because where it looks at right now with the Los Angeles Chargers, they're not winning anything anytime soon. It does not matter how great of a football player Justin Herbert's been, where he's going to finish this season, 20 touchdowns, 7 INTs. He's going to be out for the rest of the year with this broken finger on his throwing hand. This defense is so bad that it does not matter what Justin Herbert does on the offensive side of the ball. They will not be able to win anything until they address that. And with that contract that Justin Herbert's going to have, it only cripples them more in terms of the moves that they can make to try and make this roster better. Because seemingly with that contract, it's going to really hinder what they can do moving forward. If I'm Detroit, I try my best to get Herbert on my squad because he makes us a championship threat. Go ahead, Mr. Moran. Oh, dude, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Where are you?
Bro.
I want to give a shout out to Andre Ali for donating $50 and saying Joe Barry is a war criminal, which, I mean, listen.
Joel, what happened to your beautiful camera?
It went out. My cam link right now is overheated, so I'm using my webcam right now.
Okay. We had to address the obvious.
But Joe Barry, I mean, playing soft coverage against the Giants with the game on the line. I mean, I just don't know, man. This guy, shout out to Andre, though, for the $50.
Thank you, Andre. We appreciate you, brother.
You know, Drew, it's very obvious when you like a player because Jameson Williams is not good. He's garbage.
He's garbage. This guy's
Jameson Williams is trash.
Got it. Make sure you're never the GM of my football
team. Garbage is crazy. But I don't think you could just put on Jared Goff the reason why Jameson.
If you give him Justin Herbert, I'm willing to guarantee we're talking about 1,000-yard receiver.
If he can't make Quentin Johnson good, he can't make Jameson Williams.
We saw Quentin Johnson pretty solid with Easton.
And you know what? This is the thing, man. This topic is supposed to be if we're concerned more about the Lions or Dolphins. I think we all know what the Lions are. Like outside of Drew on the show, I mean, nobody was hyping this team up to be a Super Bowl team. Nobody was hyping this team. Nobody was hyping up this team to be an Nobody was doing it.
They were a Super Bowl team. I never said they were a Super Bowl team. And two, if he's gonna let me go down this ship alone, you gotta go with him. I'll be fucking remiss. You're going with him. Don't you dare do that. You're going with him, buddy. Don't you fucking dare.
I love the Lions and I love their story, but that's exactly what they are. They're a great story. They're not a great football team. There are still obvious holes on this team. When you look at the defense, they cannot generate any pressure without blitzing. They don't have a consistent pass rush. Aiden Hutchinson has been propped up to be the star, but he's a one-trick pony. He can't win outside with his bend. He has to, for the most part, power rush over tackles, and if he's not as strong as a tackle, he loves attacking that inside shoulder, and if he can't win that way, he gets neutralized. That's why the Lions like lining him up inside a lot, because he has a power advantage over guards and centers. Aleem McNeil is the best defensive lineman on this team. He provides so much for them. He's such a great run defender, and he can even rush the passer somewhat. The moves they made in the secondary were they got them marginally better. Like Cam Sutton's okay. He's not a lockdown corner. Really, the back end just needs an overhaul. Jared Goff did not play a bad game in this one. He didn't. He had that one fumbled snap. Was it on the center? Was it him? There was the interception he had, but I thought that was just a brilliantly disguised defensive scheme from Matt Eberflus. But later in the game, in the fourth quarter, the Lions were in position to score, and he threw some rifles to Amon-Ra St. Brown that Amon-Ra just dropped. He dropped 2 on the same drive that would have put the Lions in a great
spot. That you highlighted that on Twitter. When he has to full extension dive, it's about to be on the ground, and it just smokes him right in the face.
And then there was another one that Jaquan Brisker just punched it out.
Okay, keep going.
He's a top 10 receiver. Every week you telling me how elite he is.
He's been nothing short of amazing this season.
This really was his first bad game.
And I think the problem with the Lions,
Chicago's defense is better than what people think
because they're outside.
And I think what the problem with the Lions really, Amon-Ra is a great intermediate threat. He can win short and intermediate. He's great against zone, and he can match up man against weaker corners. But on the outside, he's just not as dominant as other guys. And the Lions don't have a bunch of threats on the outside. There was a play versus zero coverage when Jared Goff gave Jameson Williams a chance one-on-one down the field, and Jameson just did a terrible job tracking the ball. He had no idea where.
We're blaming Jameson and not Goff for just missing that throw. Interesting,
because it wasn't a missed throw. He just tracked the ball terribly. Jameson. He's not a good NFL receiver. I don't know what you want me to say. He's not a good NFL receiver. He's had a chance. He's in an offense with an OC that's ultra creative and has been creative with multiple players on the team. I mean, we're seeing Sam Laporta about to set a rookie record for tight ends, and we're giving excuses to Jameson for not succeeding. I mean, come on, man. That's a joke. Jameson has just not lived up to his first round pick billing, and it's as simple as that. If he lived up to it, the Lions offense will be better. Here's why I'm concerned about the Dolphins, though, because I know what the Lions are. The Lions are just happy to be in the dance. They're just happy to be in the playoffs. The Dolphins, there's actually serious takes and serious thought process going into this team, maybe being the team to come out the AFC. I don't know about you guys, but as long as they employ that quarterback Tua, I don't care. The other night, I was watching football, and I was just thinking about scenarios in my head. Okay, the AFC is pretty wide open. The Ravens can make it. The Chiefs can make it. If the Bills get it, I could see a Cinderella run where they make it. I even look at the Broncos, and I'm like, they play great defense. They run the ball. Definitely Russ doesn't turn the ball over. Even I'm buying in on the Broncos. And then when I get to the Dolphins, I'm like, man, this team is talented. But nah, I'm not really worried about them making it. I'm not. Something always goes wrong with the Dolphins, whether it's against the Eagles. Tua throws a late interception in the red zone against the Eagles that would have tied the score up and made it.
But when I talk about play calling and receivers running the wrong routes, I'm not allowed.
Let him talk.
Right,
You're
talking for like 17 minutes.
You're always fucking interrupting somebody.
Me interrupting
Jesus,
me.
Joel,
I'm sorry. On vacation.
Oh, you know what? I understand this because this guy's the king of. Also, this guy thinks he goes under the radar.
I'm not listening.
He makes me fucking sick. I'm talking to you.
My brother. He's spitting right now.
Oh, is he?
Spit. Go ahead,
see, this is why I'm not surprised.
Talk your shit, bro.
You look at the Eagles game, Tua late game interception. If they would have scored, there would have been a one possession game. He throws an interception. You look at the Chiefs game, the ball slips out of his hand, and we're thinking, what the hell was that? Then takes a sack on fourth down. Then we're looking at this Titans game in primetime, blowing a lead. I understand the defense deserves a lot of blame there, but when you're the quarterback and all you need is 2 points to win the game, you got to get your team in field goal range. I saw Jordan Love get his team in field goal range against the Giants. I saw Jordan Love do it. If you're Tua, you got to get your team in field goal range with enough time to go. Time and time again, Tua comes up short. I don't think anybody outside of delusional Dolphins fans actually trust this man come playoff time. You don't.
He's never been there. So how the fuck can we know that he's going to be
He's talking
ready?
about you, though.
Listen, of course I'm going to ride for my guy. Like I said, I'm a fucking rider.
I see that. Yeah.
If you think that I'm not going to stand 10 toes with my brother in Christ, you're out of your fucking mind.
Because in big games, Tua disappears.
I knew you would. It was a layup for anyone.
The pool video was so.
So Joel, who do you? What's the question? Who do you not trust more, or who do you have more concerns?
I'm
with?
more concerned about the Dolphins because they got more aspirations. I think the Lions have tough decisions to make. They have to make a decision on extended Jared Goff, and I don't know if I'd extend Jared Goff with how he's playing right now.
First time in my life, Joel, I'm not mad at you. I'm really not. I'm mad at this piece of shit over here.
I'll be honest. The Dolphins got the same question about extending Tua. They're going to do it, but they have the same questions with you're saying extending Jared Goff.
Riv, why should I be surprised when this guy to my left over here told me that Tua was not a starting level quarterback? Why should I be surprised when this is coming out of his mouth when that's also what he had told me in the past? Why am I not surprised that he's telling me to shut up and listen to what this guy has to say?
I think he just
outside of a respect factor.
I think he just.
Of course, you think so.
I've seen Tua multiple times this season with opportunities to go down the field.
See, but again, when it comes to we're talking about Tua, right? He can talk about Jameson Williams not tracking the ball correctly, but when I talk about Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert running the wrong routes, oh no, it's Tua threw an interception.
Waddle's been on some bullshit.
And when I vocalize Waddle being mid, no, he's a great receiver. He's supposed to be good. But what are we talking about on the way here?
Have I not been saying Waddle's been disappointing
all
season long?
And also something that also got vocalized that Tyreek put a quote tweet out that he kind of nipped in the bud too. That this offense is trying to get Tyreek Hill to 2,000. I do feel like this offense is too catered to Tyreek Hill. He is the best offensive weapon on this field. Yes, there should be a significant amount of plays drawn up for Tyreek Hill. But let's not forget that Jalen Waddle is a special talent in his own right.
I don't think sometimes
he gets he is a special talent. I mean, he broke the rookie record for receptions in the season, followed it up with an even better sophomore season. Here we are now. What is it? Year three?
He doesn't look healthy to me.
He's not healthy.
Even when I saw him,
not knowing your plays is not a health thing though.
No, that's different.
No,
but I'm saying
that's one instance.
I'm saying that Jalen Waddle after his rookie season, I think people were talking like he could probably be like a low end wide receiver one, right? He just doesn't look healthy to me. When he had that crossing route, I don't know, maybe third quarter. Oh, not even that one.
That was early.
He got blown up, but like third quarter maybe, and he's like he outran defenders, but he outran them just horizontally and got to the sideline. Like I think if Waddle's 100%, he's running around those guys. Tyreek Hill, we know if he's 100%, he's running right probably through those guys or around them and up the sideline. Waddle doesn't look 100% to me. Both these teams I have concerns with, the Lions and Miami. I don't think either of these teams are making a conference championship game. They both have different who
the fuck's coming out? The Ravens and who?
I like the Bills more as we stand today.
They got to get it.
I think if the Chiefs and Dolphins played, I'd probably lean with the Chiefs still.
I only respect it because that's the team that he stood 10 with.
He's
rode for the Bills.
He thought Miami could come out too.
No, there definitely was. No, there was a time where he definitely was high on Miami.
Yeah, I mean,
but
Miami's still high.
But now
I have questions about both these teams because
I only say of recent because when we do our power rankings and he constantly has them in the top 10, I was like, what are you doing?
They're always like 9, 10 because they're just dangerous. But both these teams have real question marks, right? I think the biggest issue for Detroit is, listen, the defense is real. The defensive issues are real, but I'm looking at their turnovers from weeks 1 through 8. We're looking at 9 total turnovers here. If you're looking at the last 4 weeks, they have 10 turnovers.
That's insane.
They have an insane amount of turnovers. And Jared Goff, whether it's miscommunication with the receiver, to ball, whatever the case might be, he's turned the ball over way too much right now. Your defense is bad as is. You're giving these offenses more and more chances. They ended up even winning one of these games. It was the 4 turnover game in Chicago their first time. They lost to the Packers. Then this previous week, they lost to the Bears. I have real concerns about Detroit. I think Joel's statement kind of the expectations around them are valid. They're going to win the division, but if they go first game, they have to go and play Dallas. Like I think everyone pretty comfortably going to have Dallas win that game. When I look at Miami, though, you could talk about the injuries on the offensive line, right? Tyreek Hill went down. But listen, you're a big Tua guy, right? I've had my reservations about Tua. You want to pay Tua $300 million. I need him to go out and win that game.
He needs to overcome losing 4 starting offensive linemen, losing his number 1 wide receiver.
This season?
He lost all 4 offensive linemen? No, he did not.
Yes, they were down to 1 starting offensive lineman in the game this season.
How long ago?
I also want to chime in on this because Drew, and it was probably you too, Dehls. I mean, y'all too you are always the biggest culprit in this area. You guys were slandering Joe Burrow when he lost in the AFC Championship game when he had 4 backup offensive linemen in that game. And he was facing one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. The Titans did not have Jeffrey Simmons yesterday. The Titans did not have Jeffrey Simmons. So you want to criticize Joe Burrow for a lackluster AFC Championship performance, then criticize Tua, baby. Criticize Tua because he still had them guys out there.
That's what I was doing.
Nico Autry, Auden Key, and Harold Landry had their fucking way last night. 4 backup offensive linemen had to come in and play in this game versus Tennessee. And obviously, the names that I just listed, that is a solid trio of guys. And yes, you mentioned Jeffrey Simmons did not play. He's easily their best defensive lineman. But regardless, with that being said, what do you want Tua to do more in that situation? Yes, I even started with saying in that position, you need to get into field goal range at least. I agree because you were just up 15. Your offense wasn't able to put this game away the drive before. Your defense let up, and now you're in this position because you couldn't end up sealing the deal. So yes, where Tyreek was able to get back onto the field, the pressure was still too much. He was sacked more this game than he was in any other game.
This was a team loss. Listen, we're gonna talk about the quarterback because that's what we do. It's the NFL.
Why?
But this was a
Let's
team
talk
loss.
about the play calling.
Yes,
Let's
I'm
talk
looking
about
at
the
Mike
defense.
McDaniel. I'm looking at you putting Jalen Waddle outside on the X every single play when he's not able to beat guys one-on-one on the outside. Why is he not moving into the slot more?
Agreed.
Why haven't you been running the ball more? Because damn near all game long, they were able to gash them on the ground. I'm looking at this defense who let up fucking 2 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes of the game. But yes, I am also looking at Tua at the end of that game too. Like, Tua isn't just not at fault here because he's under pressure. Brock Purdy has one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. He's able to get shit done.
But at least his best offensive lineman is reliable and has been on the field. Yes, he did miss a couple games, but he's been playing a majority of the season. Teron Armstead, you cannot rely on him whatsoever. Austin Jackson's been awesome. Yes, he's in the lineup. They just gave him an extension. No Robert Hunt. Connor Williams goes out in that first quarter. And like I mentioned, Teron did not suit up for this game. What are we expecting?
It's a team loss, but now it's out there that, I mean, this isn't news. This is news. But you go out there, you pressure Tua. This is what this offense
This isn't news. You're 100% right. We saw it with the Bills. We saw it with the Chiefs. We saw it with the Eagles. If you get pressure on Tua because this offensive line's unhealthy and definitely one that can get exposed, that's how you best get to Miami.
I just think
that's why we see Tua's numbers be what they are in terms of quickest time to throw and obviously the lack of sacks that he takes because he's put in these situations where he has to get the ball out quick. If not, he's getting sacked.
I think
so. Doesn't this scenario, this kind of game script kind of prove that Tua is a limited quarterback though?
But
he cannot create out of structure.
But okay, that's we've seen pocket passers exist in this league.
That's not the modern NFL though. All the top guys can move.
Tom Brady played till he was 45 years old.
Tua is not Tom Brady.
No one's saying he's Tom Brady, but pocket passers can obviously exist.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a pocket passer that can read defenses at the best level versus Tua, who
and we even saw in this game versus Tennessee moments where he had to get outside the pocket and did.
And I think that you are giving Tua a little too much credit for not taking sacks. When you have the quickest time to throw in the NFL, it's oftentimes because the first guy in the play is open, which means that Mike McDaniel is dialing up plays where the first guy is almost always open. So I think crediting Tua for being ultra quick with getting the ball out of his hands and not taking sacks, that's more so because the play calling is so great that Tua doesn't have to consistently read out.
Not great last night.
I don't think he was good either.
He wasn't good.
I'm not saying he was good. I'm just saying in general, that's that time to throw. Tua consistently is being put in positions.
Every single stat in that there is, Joel.
But I'm saying Tua consistently is being put in positions where the first option is always open.
I give my limitations.
But what are we knocking him for if he's succeeding?
I've never knocked that man a day in my life.
I think Purdy has limitations. I think Tua has limitations.
Purdy's limitations, he's short. You know, he's not really mobile like that.
He's mobile enough, but yeah,
his arm isn't.
Tua is mobile enough too.
I think Purdy's comfortable more mobile.
He's definitely more mobile.
But I don't think I wouldn't consider both of them mobile guys.
They're not.
Yeah, they're sit back.
Purdy's actually a little ass dude. If you
he is.
he's
a little munchkin.
You can see him next to his offensive lineman. Yeah. How do you even see over that
he's
line?
He's mad small.
I just think this Dolphins offense is too damn good, too damn explosive. I think McDaniel's too good of a head coach. His weapons, to his ability to, be a very good, accurate passer. I think they're too good overall to just like kind of one thing throw this entire thing off. Like Tyreek Hill went down. Tyreek Hill went down. Best receiver in football. Best receiver in football. Bro, he was
you can't just stay quiet this whole time. 4 offensive linemen out.
Joel, maybe you could get this too. I saw time. Joel, maybe get with me here. Let's get Joel up here. I saw time. I saw snap after snap last night where Tua had time and he was holding the ball. He was holding the ball. He was holding the ball and he wasn't throwing it.
When? Show me. Give me a time when. Give me a time when.
Throughout the game.
Just give me one moment.
Tyreek Hill went down.
So nobody was getting open. And obviously Tyreek comes back on the field. Tyreek gets open more than anybody else in the league.
That's why
Tua starts to dot.
That's
correct.
That's why I said this offense is too good. And that's why I said this is a team loss.
It's Tyreek centric.
This is a team loss because this is on McDaniel. This is on the offensive line. This is on Tua. This is a team loss.
List them.
List
them 1, 2, 3.
In terms
who gets
of
most blame? 1, 2, 3 last night.
I think McDaniel is number 1.
Easy.
I think McDaniel's
easily
number 1. 2 and 3.
It's an easy answer.
The offensive line is 2.
Yeah, but
I'm cool with that too.
I mean, that Tennessee, we talked.
No, where's the
defense? It's not that good.
I'm with you.
I need to see more
when
from
Tyreek was on the field. They were able to draw plays, and Tua was able to hit him.
So, question: how do you know for a fact that when Tua was holding the ball, nobody was open down the field?
You watched all 22.
The all 22 has not come out yet for the game.
You watched the game back. That's all that you need to do.
No, but I'm saying like. I'm not going to trust that there was receivers open and Tua was just not throwing the ball.
Like, I think the guy that he was throwing to the most in that second half was Cedric Wilson.
Yeah.
The balls that you saw, did you see the lack of separation that Cedric was drawing? My point. That's exactly my point. It's Tyreek Waddle who should be better than what he has been.
That's why McDaniel number 1.
McDaniel has to be number 1.
I think McDaniel is putting a little too much trust in Tua because he believes in Tua.
Everything comes back to Tua.
You should know, though.
I should know.
We do this with every quarterback.
But again, if you watch the game yesterday, 15 points in 3 minutes is fucking insane. A 3rd and 3 screen?
We know that's insane. Ultimately, and I want all you guys to do this moving forward when you watch the Dolphins play. After 3 seconds where Tua holds on to the ball, count how many times, do a little exercise, how many times he makes a good decision versus a bad decision.
9 out of 10 times he makes a good one.
The longer he's holding on to the ball, the more often he's making mistakes because he trusts the guardrails of the offense too much. And then when he's asked to do things out of structure, he cannot. And that's the main knock on Tua, and it always has been. He's put up some great stats. Those stats do not reflect the caliber of quarterback that he is. It wasn't the case last year. And last year when they had their toughest stretch, he struggled. And this year versus the tougher opponents, he has struggled as well. So I think the offense is hiding a lot of his limitations. You can say this game maybe is not on Tua. I think he has a huge part of it. He definitely does. Of course, like Dehls mentioned, it's a team loss. The defense gave up points to Will Levis and the offense. Of course, we know. And that's a defense that was getting hyped up after facing some garbage offenses. Let's just point that out there as well. But I still think Tua is limited. And listen, I think that there were receivers that were getting open and he just wasn't throwing the ball. He's a very hesitant quarterback when the picture isn't perfect. That's just who he has been.
I don't agree, but you know what? Let's talk about another quarterback that is seemingly untouchable when it comes to conversations until this past week. Mr. Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs went up against the Buffalo Bills at home in Arrowhead, and the Chiefs came up short. Chiefs lost to the Buffalo Bills, and we all predicted that the Buffalo Bills would win. However, I don't think that we anticipated for there to be this much controversy around the game where Patrick Mahomes throws the ball to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce makes a nice play, some good yards after the catch, decides to lateral it back to Kadarius Toney. An amazing play. Just a one-of-one Travis Kelce. all for it to be called back with Kadarius Toney being called for offensive offside.
Some people's role models at this panel that we have, he goes up to Josh Allen. That's the worst fucking call ever. Like, dude, my guy.
Listen,
you're already coddled.
To Mahomes' to his defense, the next day he came out and he apologized. He said, "What I did was wrong."
We don't care.
I don't care.
We don't care because after a game, if they'll say me and you quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? We friends, we quarterbacks, one of the best in the league. I'm not gonna tell you, yo, bro, that was the worst. I'm gonna
Mickey Mouse win. Like, what if I went up to Rick? Mickey Mouse win, bro.
Basically saying that you shouldn't have won. It's a great game, bro. You played well. And then I'm going to the podium like, refs, what do we? That's when I speak my piece. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain just a level of respect there that you gotta have. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I do think it was the kind of culmination of everything that's happened this Chiefs season, where every game at this point feels like we need to win. And this was a game that was just in their reach. They thought they damn near won the game, and it just gets.
And I tweeted this. I felt like this was just more Mahomes being angry about everything else happening, and he couldn't take it out on his players, so he took it out on his refs. Brother, man, Kadarius Toney was not only offsides for that play. Shout out to Orlovsky, my dog. You were offside all fucking game, brother. Like, you was doing that all game. So
he was dramatically.
Yeah, he wasn't. Like Orlovsky. Shout out to my dog. You wasn't checking in with the refs, bro. You was bugging. So it's like that play. You were offsides. That's a big call. They didn't call it for the most part. They really didn't call it all game, but that was a big call, and it was the right call. You're upset that they made the right call at the right time. We get upset at refs for making the wrong calls at the wrong times, but that was the right call. He was offsides. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't the reason you lost the game. Like,
you had plays after that.
Yeah, you had plays after that. Before that, that wasn't the reason you lost the game.
Scored 17 points.
Yeah, like the
offense is mid.
The offense is mid, yes, but Buffalo's defense came to play.
They did.
Buffalo's defense came to play. Let's start the game off first of all. Let's start off by this. Josh Allen back against the wall. They already know going into Arrowhead, they have never beat this team in the playoffs. They were 2-0 in their last two meetings against Kansas City. They know do or die. Josh Allen said, we're in playoff mode. It's playoffs every week, do or die. What do? They go out there in the first half and they look damn near flawless. You know, the AJ Espenza, shout out to him. He forced a pick in the air, and then he got the interception.
That was viral.
Yeah, the defense played solid. You know, Razul Douglas made some plays. Christian Benford made some plays. Like, this team made some plays, you know. The offense looked great in the first half. Second half looked a little stagnant. The Chiefs defense, as we expected, came out with a better game plan. But the throw out of bounds off the
ridiculous.
Back
one of the best throws.
This is why he's one of the best in the world. Like, and Latavius Murray was 5 yards away from the throw. He was like, fuck it, I know you're going to get it. And it was so Bills-like for him to drop the ball. It was so just like he gets it. Of course, he fucking fumbles the ball. And it's like, it just culminates on what this Bills season has been, of just nonstop bullshit after bullshit. Thank God they got the call. But Josh Allen was really good in this game. You know, he did miss the Gabe Davis touchdown, which probably would have ended the game. It ended the game regardless. But he missed the Gabe Davis touchdown. But he was getting pressured all fucking game. Like, that pass rush was able to get to Josh Allen, but he was able to evade the pocket, get out, make some plays. Shout out to him. Diggs drops a couple screens. I guess he was scared to get hit a couple times. He's been doing that since Philly. Drops a pass, but Diggs didn't play well. Gabe Davis didn't play well. This offense was able to move. This offense was able to get the W. So shout out to them. They learned how to share the sugar. James Cook had a good game.
They're
learning how to share the sugar. And this like Dehls mentioned earlier, you don't want to see this team in the playoffs. This is a team. I think shout out to Nico Takes. He also said this shit on Twitter. The Buffalo Bills are the one team you just don't want to see in the play. Like, you don't want to catch them. They got to come to your team. Like, in the first round,
like this is the worst regular season they've had in years. But it almost feels like this is the best chance they got. This is like
Miami Heat in the first round. AFC. Like, you just don't you don't think they're that good, but just for some reason you don't want to see this team in the first round. They're gonna give you all types of hell. They're gonna aggravate you for 48 minutes. But shout out to Buffalo, and just for Mahomes, for me personally. You don't do that, man. That's bad sportsmanship. You don't walk up to the quarterback who you guys are cool. It's not professional at all. You can say whatever you want at the podium to the refs for sure. But I'm gonna keep it 100. That's a bitch made move right there. That's a bitch made move. You don't walk up to the quarterback. Yo, bro, that's the worst fucking call I've ever seen. You don't do that. That's crazy, bro. That's basically telling him, bro, you really ain't should have won this game. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you take that to the podium to speak on the refs, which he did, which is like now you bitching even more. Detail. Yeah, so it's like it's a little aggravating. But at the end of the day, like you mentioned, next day he owned his rights. But at the moment, that's immature. You better than that. You a champion. You an MVP. Like you know better than to do some shit like that.
The reason why this got blown up as big as it is was because he got caught after the game on a hot mic saying to Josh that it's the worst call he's ever seen. That's why it's got blown up as much as it has. Because if you watch Kansas City games, Mahomes is complaining about every call after every game. This is something Mahomes does that is only getting spoken about now because he got caught on a hot mic talking to the other team's quarterback who won the game. This is something that Mahomes has done for God knows how long. I feel like I tweet about this every time I watch a Chiefs game where Mahomes, after every play, whether it's a half-second late hit or he feels like his defender's getting interfered with, he's sprinting beeline right to the referee and he's complaining to him, trying to get a whistle. Joel has said it in the past too, or he said it on his show at the Joel V. Moran show. Go ahead and give that a listen. I think it's just Joel Moran show. Okay. But he said there's been times where you look at the Chiefs and they've had calls benefit them. And he's obviously not complaining about those calls because why the hell would you? Because they're obviously playing not the whole part in helping you win a game, but definitely calls that go in your favor you're never going to complain about. We've seen some moments this season where definitely calls have gone against the Chiefs more so than in recent memory. The one that comes to mind would be that MVS pass interference that was not called, no doubt about it. That definitely was a flag. But in this situation, you were dead wrong. And you were extremely loud about it. That's why it's as embarrassing as a look as it is. But again, if you watch the games with the Kansas City Chiefs, you know that this is not something new with Mahomes. But what's new about it was after the game, the way that he interacted with the other team. That is something that you don't do. But this was a tough loss for the Kansas City Chiefs, no doubt. 8-5, one game now behind them. Those Denver Broncos, the hottest team in the league, just keeps on rolling. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week. We're going to talk about the Broncos a little bit later, so let me not get ahead of myself. But now they're kind of putting their backs against the wall where, hey, every game from here on out is a must-win because those Broncos are right on those heels. And wouldn't it be some shit from the depths of hell, those Denver Broncos come out of nowhere and win the AFC West? That would just be a fairy tale ending to an amazing 5-1
in the division.
Us or the Chiefs. I do know that. Yeah. I do know that.
You got to win some.
No, we have to go.
You got to hope they lose.
We have to beat.
You can't tie with them.
No, we can have the same. Oh, you're right because they have the 5-1.
Yeah,
you're 100%
they will win
right.
the second tiebreaker if I'm not.
You're 100% right.
They're 3-1 their division looks like.
Yeah, he's saying
3-1. You guys are 2-2.
We're 2-2.
Yes,
we lost to the Chiefs. We lost to the.
They're
Raiders
also
week
6-2 in the conference though. So you
lose
need
the
to get
tiebreaker
because we lost to Miami, we lost to the Jets, and we lost to.
So you would lose
Texans.
the second and third tiebreakers.
We're cooked.
We're cooked.
We're cooked. It's not.
We need them to win. We need them to lose 2 games.
You need to keep winning.
Their
schedule is rather.
It's so easy. Yeah. The only game that you can look at and think, this one could go either way would be that Bengals game, just because the Bengals have won some games that we thought that they.
They have the better quarterback. Say it again.
Interesting.
The Bengals. They have a great quarterback out there.
Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Oh, better than Mahomes.
Oh, Burrow.
Oh, Burrow. I was just trying to fucking
no. But when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, their issue is obvious still. It's this offense. We still see them now relying on Rashee Rice more. Rashee Rice had himself a great ball game, still fumbled the ball. That was pretty tough of them.
Thanks.
But the defense kept them right in this game, 20-17. The Chiefs still had their opportunities to win this game outside of that one play that, of course, Travis Kelce being Travis Kelce, making a one-of-one type play. But even outside of that one play, there still were moments that Mahomes still could have overcame.
Let's hear top Mahomes Glazer, Joel Moran.
But again, before he goes, I'll give him his benefit of the doubt and his credit because he likes to speak to how unbiased he is. This was the most unbiased I felt like I've ever heard Joel talk about Patrick Mahomes because he gave him the honest truth.
I'm all ears.
But go ahead, Mr. Moran. Talk to me.
This was obviously Mahomes' worst moment that he's had in the NFL from a PR perspective. With that came a lot of backlash and controversy, and this was not a good look. He came across as a sore loser. But having time to reflect on this moment, I mean, what all-time great players are not sore losers? Tom Brady was a sore loser. Tom Brady didn't handshake any opponents that beat him. After he would lose games, he would go straight into the tunnel and he wouldn't acknowledge anybody. Michael Jordan, there are a laundry list of receipts on how hard he took losses and how much of an a-hole he was in games. I thought the worst part of this was the Josh Allen clip. That's indefensible. No matter what happens in the game, no matter what call happens, you can't complain to somebody else on the team about that. You just can't. It's as simple as that. So this was a terrible moment. But listen, I'm glad Josh Allen got this win because I want the Bills to be in the playoffs so the playoffs can be the most entertaining playoffs possible. So I'm glad that happened. For the Chiefs, the issues are the same issues that were there in week 1, but I'm kind of getting tired of this narrative around the Chiefs that they needed Tyreek Hill. This year, that can hold true. But last year, they just won a Super Bowl. I mean, they let him go, and they won the biggest prize in football. So what are we really talking about here? Mahomes has already proved himself without Tyreek Hill. And given the Chiefs' schedule, they're going to be 12-5 heading into the playoffs on a 4-game win streak. They're going to be one of the hottest teams in the NFL. I think Andy Reid has to stop being stubborn. They have to start playing their best players. They have to start playing their most trustworthy players. You can't trust Kadarius Toney. You can't trust MVS because he runs the wrong routes and he doesn't sit in zones. You have to get more trustworthy receivers in there, even if they're not game breakers. Get Justin Watson more snaps. Get somebody like Richie James, who last year was solid for the Giants, more snaps. I mean, the guys we're talking about, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have much to lean on, but the Chiefs' best chance is to lean on guys that they can trust and guys that they don't have to worry about being offsides. Kadarius Toney, I mean, when they made the trade for him, the compensation the Giants got back was a steal. The only reason why this trade looks somewhat good is because of the punt return that Kadarius Toney had in the Super Bowl. But man, Kadarius Toney's pushing the limit. And we've mentioned time and time again the loss of Eric Bieniemy. I don't think his loss is so much in the play calling or play designing department. I think his loss is in just getting these players right. Because if you have looked into how he runs Washington, it's a very militant routine. Eric Bieniemy is going to call you out for the littlest thing, and he's going to give you praise, but not too much. He's going to keep you very even-keeled. And they need somebody like Eric Bieniemy to really put a boot in somebody's ass if they're not lined up correctly in practice and they're not doing things the right way. I think Mahomes could use that extra motivation. I think Kelsey could use it. I think Toney could use it. This whole offense can use a little bit of a kick and a wake-up call so they can make better habits and be more disciplined, because right now this feels like a disciplined football team, and it shows up when it matters most. It showed up versus the Eagles when MVS had that drop. It showed up versus the Lions when Toney had that drop that led to the Brian Branch pick 6. It showed up versus the Bills. So at this point, the Chiefs have been losing by this much with little to no margin for error. So we know that they can win games even if they're messing up, but they just can't mess up in the biggest moments. And I think that's the biggest thing. But as for this Mahomes thing, listen, worst PR thing I've seen him do in years. He's usually not this guy. And I think that this energy was redirected at Allen and the refs, because he's not going to go out there and call out Kadarius Toney. He's not going to call out his teammates, and he needed to let out his frustration somehow. But it was indefensible. I don't think it's going to happen again. But these receivers have to get their act together because they're embarrassing the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I mean, this was it was tough to watch when you see him come off the field. First, you see him screaming at the sideline. You're like, who's he screaming at? He's screaming at Andy Reid. He's screaming at the refs. I know you were probably in your fucking glory sitting back watching that.
It's amazing.
You know, of course, he comes out the next day. He says he screwed up. Mahomes, he knows where he's wrong. You know, he's a mature enough guy to at least realize that. But like I said earlier, this is nothing new for Kansas City. You know, this specific play being offsides, maybe, but you go and look, like, there is no doubt in my mind Kadarius Toney was offsides. Now, we could argue about the consistency of that call, because you could see there's plays throughout this week in that game, you know, even in games last night, where you look at receivers. Are they a little bit offsides? Maybe, maybe not. But the refs have to make a call. And you made a great point, Riv, where we get on the refs week in and week out. It feels like this season more than ever, even though it's basically every season where they make wrong call after wrong call. It was the dead right call. Kadarius Toney was offsides. It was a great play by Kelsey. It would be awesome to see that stand, because it probably was going to go down as play of the year, if we're being honest. The fact that he catches that ball 30, 40 yards downfield, is able to have the awareness to see Kadarius Toney, have the balls to actually pitch it to him. He goes into the end zone.
Loses his job after that moment.
Yeah, Bills are probably out of the playoff picture, or at least, you definitely have to win out at this point. And now the Chiefs are cruising, have a chance at the number 1 seed still. Now, everything is opposite, and the Bills look like one of the hotter teams going to play Dallas this week. But to talk about the Chiefs real quick, it's the same issues that keep coming up. And I'm not sure if I said it on a previous podcast, but I don't see this team as a Super Bowl team. I don't know, again, if I'm breaking any news here, but Patrick Mahomes could be as great as he is. Andy Reid, I still think, is a great play caller, but this offense this lacks juice. The defense held the Bills to 6 points in the second half. They didn't score a touchdown. It was 2 field goals this defense held them to. This Kansas City offense that we've seen year in and year out be able to come back from 20 points down, 30 points down, Tyreek Hill, big play, all of this. They don't have the weapons to do it. In the offseason, Brett Veach will go in there. He'll do his thing. They'll get weapons. But right now, this team they're not Super Bowl caliber. The offense isn't right.
I got to say, I am not mad, not even the slightest bit.
I know you're not.
Because why the hell would I be?
That's how I feel about Miami.
But I will say, the Buffalo Bills definitely deserve praise. And where you didn't even see a game where Stephon Diggs left his impact, it was still great to see them get James Cook involved in the pass game after the week was it against Philadelphia, where because they had their bye last week, and then the week before that he had that wheel route where they threw the ball over the top to him, just goes right through his hands. But it was great to see a situation in this game where they went right back to him in a similar play, and he was able to bring it in, had over 80 receiving yards, was one of the impact players for the Buffalo Bills. It was a great team win for Buffalo. You mentioned that defense definitely was able to hold the Kansas City Chiefs in check, but they got to go on a run. 7-6 team. We're going to have a conversation a little bit later about possible contenders in the AFC. Maybe we have discussions about the Buffalo Bills, but this was an essential win and definitely one that you look at the Buffalo Bills in a much more positive light, because we know what's the Kansas City Chiefs expectations, and we understand the conversations that they're in. To come away with the W in Arrowhead is definitely a huge move. Now, moving on to this week into the NFL, but before we do that, let's talk about our guys over here at PrizePicks. You know that we are working together with PrizePicks for the month of December. Now, Mr. Moran, if you could please put the code right at the bottom. If you go and you download PrizePicks, use code PAS when you are signing up for your account. They will match up to 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Just make sure you're going and using code PAS. Now, of course, we can't talk about PrizePicks and not have ourselves a little lay. Mr. Rivio, do you have something for us?
I do, actually.
Talk to me.
You thought I did it?
No, I knew you had something. I see you got the app open.
I sure do, and I got a combination of two. I didn't know which one I wanted to pick, so I'm gonna just tell y'all which two I feel extremely comfortable. Dehls, what's my motto?
Always over.
Always over. And I got a little combination, 3-point made combo. So the first two we got, both of these games. Well, this game is at 10 p.m. It's Golden State versus Phoenix. No Kevin Durant tonight. Still might lose, but nonetheless, you're going to see Steph Curry probably put on the show. Steph Curry and Devin Booker, they got to combine for 7 threes made. Take the over. Steph's going to take 12 threes, bound to make 5. Devin Booker can get you 3. That's the clicker. And the other one at 10:30. These LA teams, these California teams, they play so late on our side. That's too late for us. But at 10:30, we got the Kings and the Clippers. Now, have you seen Kings and Clippers games? They can get high powered. They can get into shootouts. Paul George and De'Aaron Fox only have to combine for 6 threes made. Well, and listen.
I just don't know how he doesn't know his name by now.
Let me tell you this. When I bet on Paul George, 9 times out of fuck all that. 10 times out of 10, it hits. Take the over. 5.5 is the line. You need 6 threes. Paul George can give you 3 or 4. Fox can give you 3. That's mine. That's what I'm locking with. Talk to me, Drew.
Now, my game already started. One of them is going to be Austin Reeves over 15.5. Right now, we're at halftime. Austin Reeves already has 11. I'm feeling pretty damn great about that one. Mr. Moran, if you could please prop that up for me on the screen, that would be much obliged. And the next one's going to be at a 10 o'clock game. The Suns going up against, if I'm not mistaken,
Golden State.
Golden State. Thank you very much. You just said that. Yeah. I'm going with Eric Gordon under 3 threes. I took that bet a little bit earlier in the week. Last week, 3 threes is a lot of threes. I know he shoots the basketball, but 3 threes
to make
3 threes, that's difficult in any type of situation. That's primarily his job. That's fine with me, but I'm always bank on going under in that situation. So for mine, it's going to be Austin Reeves over 15.5, and then of course Eric Gordon under 3 threes.
I like all those. Listen, I'm a degenerate gambler. I really am. And I put 2 entries for the PrizePicks today. And actually, they're on pace to do pretty well. I'm looking right here. I got 2 entries, 2 picks each. My first one is Austin Reeves, 15.5 points, the same as Drew. He has 11. So he's on pace to get 16 right now. He has 11 at halftime. Then I have Kobe White more than 20 points. He has 10 points, and it's the start of the second quarter right now. Kobe White's been on a heater. Kobe White is looking like the future of the Bulls right now, so you know how to put some money on him. And then I have another entry, Darius Garland over 21.5 points. He has 11 versus Boston at halftime right now. And Derek Lively, 8.5 rebounds. He has 3 at halftime versus the Lakers. So I'm confident at least one of these 2 will hit. But yeah, man, shout out to PrizePicks, man. I won $300 the other day off an NFL bet.
PrizePicks, man.
So shout out to PrizePicks.
Shout out to you for winning that. Dehls. First of all,
I saw the Garland move.
You did. It was fucking. He almost dropped. Like he almost killed Derek White.
He did.
No, he almost killed Derek White.
He turned around.
He came. He hezzy because DG could shoot. White silly ass.
He was still there to contest the layup.
No, he wasn't. It was a literally
back contest.
Yeah, no, not even. It was a hilarious contest because.
Who's played better this season? I'm asking genuinely in your opinion. DG or Derek White?
Probably White in his role.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Okay.
DG hasn't been a star. Like playing
He's
like
been
a star.
injured.
Sorry, yeah. And then did you see the later one? No. Donovan Mitchell was one more move away from dropping Drew Holiday.
Oh, shame he didn't.
Yeah, I know. People just don't understand counters, man. You know,
that's disrespectful. Garland is better than Derek White, man.
I didn't say. Did I?
No, I definitely think Garland's better. I was asking
who's playing
he is better.
Remember, this year, Joel, it's different than who's just a better basketball player.
White is playing better in his role than Garland is in his right now. Garland got to like it.
Let me guys ask you a question. I made a trade in fantasy basketball. I have way too many guards on my team. So I actually just traded away Cade. I know that's going to hit home for you. I traded Cade Cunningham and DeAndre Ayton, who right now is dealing with some right knee inflammation.
You're fine with that.
Okay. I traded for just Sabonis. What's your opinion?
Cade's a walking 22-7.
And 4. Last night, Sabonis in a down game.
He's like a
15, 16, and 9.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Ayton gives you nothing.
Ayton, I was so happy to walk away from. And the thing with Ayton that kind of sucks is obviously his position is center, but Sabonis is like the hybrid power forward center. Yeah. So I can play him at a forward, I can play him at the center, I can play him at the power forward. That's why I wanted to make this move.
26G, to answer your question, I ride harder for PG than Pete. For sure.
You might.
Yeah, 100%.
You might.
That's my guy.
And Pete loves Paul George.
I'm more than me, man.
I don't know if that I
saw,
think I'm with you.
He was on the TL. Someone asked him if T-Mac and Paul George played one-on-one.
He picked T-Mac.
I know who 11-4 too. I think of that.
Paul George.
Yeah,
11-6. There's no wing.
11-6.
Fuck is wrong with Pee Wee? Ain't really.
He's locking up Tracy.
No, he's
stopping him. I should say
Tracy just can't stop PG. Like there's no chance.
And Paul George is a really good defender.
He might stop
Jaylen Brown cooking, by the way.
He's playing well.
Duh.
Yeah, don't say duh, because he turned the ball over when I seen it because he couldn't go fucking left again. Embarrassing,
casual
idiot.
I'll be honest, you are a casual when it comes to Jaylen Brown. I'm
actually the one who told you about him, and you.
No, I'm the one that told you about him.
3 over Jared Allen. Come on, he's got 21. He's 8 for 12.
I'm the one who told you about him, and then Dehls had to tell you Rivers fake right when we found out about his defense. And the fact that he don't play me.
Last year's defense wasn't good, but every year before that he was great.
No, you called me a casual.
No, I called you a casual when it comes to Jaylen Brown.
He was locking up.
Yeah, but I told you his defense was never.
I told you Jaylen Brown is like that.
Well, before last season, his defense was good.
No, his on ball.
And then you laughed at him when he said that he would be an All-NBA player.
You did.
You better watch your fucking mouth when it comes to Jaylen Brown.
No, they did some weird shit, but I let it slide because I put Jaylen Brown on my All-NBA team.
He was a forward last year.
Yeah, he was a forward. A lot of guys got hurt. He got lucky. He did get lucky. You know he got.
He averaged almost 30.
Yeah, so what the fuck?
Who cares?
Who cares? You're really just disgusting when it comes to Jaylen Brown.
And then what did he do against Jimmy Butler?
Wow, Jimmy Butler, a fringe top 10 player in the NBA.
He averaged 30. You just told me.
I mean, he's great. He had a bad series. He was hurt.
Here we go.
Fucking bastard. All right.
Boom. You should have watched it, you idiot.
Moving on to the next topic. We were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about the AFC contenders. Now, I'm going to list out a bunch of AFC teams that we think that can possibly contend. Some a little bit wilder than others. The more obvious names, of course, will be included in this. Let's go over the obvious ones. We're going to go with the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Jaguars. These are the teams that right now are locked at the top of their division. Now, teams that could potentially make a run. Let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about the Browns. And I'll be damned if I don't bring up those Denver Broncos. Rank these teams in potential of them making a run. Who is the strongest contender in the AFC in your opinion?
So we're going to collectively do this? I feel like
we can collectively do this.
We can come to an agreement potentially.
I like that.
All right. Do we have
the Bills at 1? We're all in agreement.
Oh, no.
As number 1 team?
Oh, wait. We're adding every AFC.
You have the Bills number 2?
I do.
I had a feeling.
Are we adding the Chiefs and the Ravens and shit like
that?
that?
So these are the teams we have. If you want to look at the doc, you could go in your note section and share with you.
I listed them out on purpose because I knew you would not be ready for the prime time. I'm real. I'm real. Because I saw Joel erase them, and I'm just like, I know Riv's gonna need these.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good now. We're good. I got it in my face.
Okay, so I don't know. Wow.
So that would come.
I don't know about you guys, but I think Joe Flacco's moving me. I think the Browns. I have them in a spot.
Joe Flacco's not good. Now here we are the next
when
week.
I said
Joe
he was
Flacco's
going to get 200
and
that
then
week,
Dobbs Sanity. Dobbs Sanity, which you were right on, Joel. He ends up getting benched.
He was right till he was wrong.
Right till he was wrong.
Joshua
Dobbs is not good. Drew was mad disrespectful on Josh Dobbs. I told you he's good.
I was joking. But listen, I think Joe Flacco gives the Browns a higher floor now. Now I come into games and I'm like, okay, if they get a favorable matchup, they can move the ball offensively. So listen, I don't know about you guys, but number 7 on my list, I have the Jaguars at number 7.
Joel,
the Jaguars at number 7.
I got the best 6. I'm okay with that.
And I have the Browns at number 6.
What?
Yeah.
The Browns are at 6, and I have the Jaguars at 7. That's my order.
This is a perfect list so far.
I have it the other way around, but I'm cool with
this is a perfect list so far.
Okay, wait. The Denver Broncos are over the Browns.
Yes.
They smoked them.
So we're doing if we're doing it off a win by win. Yeah, we can't because the Bills shouldn't be up this high if we're doing it off a win by win thing.
No, I agree. I agree.
To be fair, it was without Joe Flacco. But they
Joe has played better.
They also kind of destroyed your defense.
Dudes was hurt that game.
That's facts.
Not only did we do our thing against their defense, our defense also made some timely plays. We got some turnovers in very friendly
also the Jags
parts of the field.
This past week, you guys were getting turnovers. They were moving the ball. They were putting up points.
All right.
But the thing is, that's not more so about Joe Flacco being able to move the ball. The Jaguars defense is not good.
It's really bad.
It's not good. Yes, Joe Flacco's better than DTR. He's better than PJ Walker for sure. Shit, he might be better than Deshaun Watson the way that he showed you or what he's shown us this season.
Do you know who has the best record against winning teams?
The Cleveland Browns.
It's the Cleveland fucking Browns. Can we show some
What about
respect?
the Broncos?
You guys
beat
are 4-3. Sorry, we're 6-3.
We did lose to the Texans, which hurts.
And
Miami.
Listen. I understand his hate. That's why I'm really.
They
we
beat
beat
the
your
Bengals.
team. Wait, fuck all that.
Okay.
We beat your Ravens, clown face. Don't ever forget that.
Game.
Shut up. You asked the question, I answered you. Beat the Bengals. Beat the fucking Niners.
The insane win.
Stop. Stop. You know what?
I just want to remind myself.
I just want to talk to you and Joel. I don't want to talk to him about the Browns.
I'll be honest. I don't got the Jags or the Browns in my power rankings. They're not my top 10.
You see what he does?
I have the Browns in mind.
I respect that. He
There'd be 11. Browns would be 11, undoubtedly.
I'll happily kick the Jags out. I have no problem.
I don't have either of them.
Joel, me personally, I feel like
the Charger.
Denver should be 7
this whole time. 7? What the fuck?
No, I lied. I feel like Jags should be 7. Denver 6. Cleveland
We're
5.
better than Cleveland.
No, you're not.
We're better than Cleveland.
I don't think so.
I do it for you every show.
I really don't think so. But we can.
No, we're better. We're better.
So. We can.
I'll just get on to my 5 and 4 because I know this is going to start some debate. So I told you the Jaguars and the Browns are 7 and 6. Number 5 for me is the Miami Dolphins.
Awesome.
I have them number 5.
Yeah.
And number 4.
Here's the thing. I'm not angry because he hasn't said them
number
yet.
4 are the Denver Broncos.
You pussied out. Where are the Chiefs?
The Chiefs are top 2.
Oh my
What are we
god!
doing here?
Oh my god!
How are the Chiefs not top 2?
Have some balls.
Have you been watching the Chiefs?
Yes, I have been. That's
What
why
did the Broncos
I
do
have
to
them
the
at
Chiefs
top
when they
2.
met up? Can you remind me?
It's
What
not
did we do?
happening
We
again.
made
It's not
Mahomes
happening
look
again.
pedestrian.
It's
We
not
made
happening
him
again.
look average, Joel.
I'm gonna say this: there is a chance, and I'm throwing this in the air, that the Dolphins can lose a game or two, and they end up one game ahead of Buffalo Week 18, and there is a chance that they can literally
It'd be in
lose
Miami,
the
right?
it'd be in Miami, but there's a chance that that Josh Allen can walk into Miami and win the MVP and the division
And
in the same day.
the game before that is going to be in Baltimore for Miami.
Yeah, so there's a chance. I'm throwing this out there. There's a chance Josh Allen can win MVP and the division in the same exact day, because if he wins the division, if he wins division, because there hasn't been many. There ain't been a quarterback better than my brother. Maybe Dak. You could throw Dak in there, but if he wins the division after you have to be in 6-6, backs against the wall,
Run the table,
brother. He's winning MVP, and then he's walking in with the division.
Riv, I threw $10 for him to win MVP.
Not only that, and that's a smart. Not only
It's
that,
like plus 2,000.
he will start the playoffs with a home game. And there's a chance he can run the table to the AFC Championship game.
This is the Jordan year you predicted last year.
A year earlier.
Never late, just early.
Just a year.
Never late,
That's what it
just
is with this
early.
podcast. We're always a year fucking early. This could be the moment. But, a lot of things need to happen. So we're just
I'm hearing
Hold on,
agony.
Riv.
I'm hearing agony, Joel. Before you go, I'm sorry. I'm hearing agony because everything you just said can actually happen.
Yep. It's crazy. What's up?
It can, especially when you have number 1 quarterback in the Dolphins out there. No, everything is possible.
Never fit.
Listen, Riv.
Clears every quarterback you've ever had in your franchise's
The
history.
bar is so disgusting.
How
though.
about you
It's on you.
respect Chad
Like,
Pennington?
It's on you.
How about you respect Chad
Again, Tua right now is having a better season than Chad Pennington's ever had. But go ahead.
Pennington? Numbers don't move me, man. They don't. Sorry.
Watch the games, brother.
Hold up,
Yeah.
Riv. I want to ask you something
Talk to me, bro.
because you're now all high and mighty on the Bills. A couple weeks ago, I feel like you was down and out.
I was down.
You was over here making fun of me because I was riding with the Bills. I was saying, listen, I still think the Bills will make the playoffs.
Listen, you're not wrong. I was out. Listen, after we lost to Denver, I didn't see the Patriots. Like, you ain't seen what I've been like. It's been hurt. So I was out for sure. And you were the only one. I'll give you credit because I'm a man that stands on business and gives you credit. Dehls too, but you mainly were loud about it. Dehls was kind of sneakily. Oh, I haven't been my top 10 in the power ranking, but you were loud about it.
I gave Buffalo respect every step of the way.
The thing is, I was loud. I definitely was more loud with Joel talking about why are you having the Bills.
That's
in your
fair.
Yes.
Yeah, and power rankings. But Joel was topic for topic. He specifically. Joel, I give you your credit. You still hold high on them. I give you
He's
that.
robbing you.
He is robbing.
He's robbing you.
Dehls, I don't want the Dehls fucking too. Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep that shit.
Shout out to you, Joel. Shout out to you.
When I'm looking at these AFC contenders, and this is really not based on what the record is now, this is just what I think they're going to be come playoff time. The Jaguars scare me. The offensive line can't hold up, and the defense allows a lot of yardage. The Browns don't have consistent quarterback play. The Dolphins, there's an element to them that you can't trust. There's just something about them that you can't trust.
Which is what?
The aura.
Aura about the quarterback.
Just about that vibe.
It's not lefties, man.
Because it's funny. We talked about Tua's loss last night. You know whose loss we didn't talk about?
Of course not.
We didn't talk about it.
Well, are we gonna do this week in the NFL?
We'll do that.
Because
you're right.
I know.
We moved on
But
from
I
Prize Picks.
I didn't know if we switched it or something. We'll do it because I wanted to bring
Excuse
that
me,
up.
Drew. Who's this week? Who are we not talking about? Can you just say the name?
We're talking about Mr. Jordan Love, and no,
Jordan, you mean Jordan Love, the guy who left the field winning and scored a touchdown?
Because I know you love the field.
Hands up, hands behind my back. You got me, officer.
Dog shit.
And also, I have some screenshots, Drew, from Tua, and there was some receivers open. I just want to put that out there. I got some screenshots.
Okay, show me, please. Show me.
Number 4, I have the Broncos because I think their defense has turned a corner. I think you can rely on their defense. They can run the ball. You trust Sean Payne to scheme things up. And Russell Wilson this year has just had one bad game where he's turned the ball over. That was against Houston. But I think you can trust Russell Wilson to just be a game manager and not lose you games. And that in itself gives them a high floor. Number 3, I have the Bills because of Josh Allen and his greatness. I mean, we saw it versus KC, making every throw in the book. I think this year he's been playing like the best quarterback in the NFL. Like Riv mentioned, you can put Dak in there, but just simply from an eye test perspective, who's willing their team more? I think it's Josh Allen this year. Number 2, the Chiefs. I know everybody wants to be early and write them out, but they are not out. They are not. Last year, they were 6-4 and they won the Super Bowl. I mean, this team finds a way to overcome adversity. And as long as they have Reed, Mahomes, and Kelsey with that defense, I think they can make enough plays. And number 1 is the Ravens. I mean, their defense, the one thing that worries me about them is, can they get consistent pass rush without blitzing?
Yep.
But their defense has been proven to be elite all year, and I trust Lamar Jackson. I really don't care about what the playoff numbers say with him. I trust Lamar Jackson. I really do. I think Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's top 5. And when you look at the Ravens, they look like the most complete team. It's unfortunate Mark Andrews got hurt, because if he didn't get hurt, that would make me trust the offense that much more. But I think they have a consistent running attack. And because of that, they have a high floor and the highest margin for error of all these AFC teams.
I'd say likely solid. So let's run through that list.
I have my own list, by the way.
We all do, but just recap real quick, Joel.
Number 7, Jags. Number 6, Browns. Number 5, Dolphins. Number 4, Broncos. Number 3, Bills. Number 2, Chiefs. And number 1, Ravens.
I have something to say.
Let's hear it.
And I just thought about it for a second, and I'm going to stand on business. I'm going to stand on my 10. Here we go. So
the Browns are going to be like 3.
Those are going to be 1, undoubtedly.
Ranking AFC contenders, it's a lot of great teams in the AFC for sure. A lot of these teams have weaknesses. Number 7, I'm going to go Jaguars. I think defensively, it's an issue. Offensive line, you can't trust. And outside of Christian Kirk, I don't trust Calvin Ridley. And I think this team, I think we kind of overrated them a bit in the offseason because of the division, but I just don't think this team is ready to make that next step. Number 6 for me, I got Denver. I feel like Denver and Cleveland, realistic. I understand the quarterback, Russell Wilson, is a better quarterback than all of them put together right now. I get all that for a fact. But I think Denver, outside of Cortland Sutton, I don't know about that offense in the playoffs. Defensively, they rely a lot on getting a lot of turnovers, but I think that's going to cool down. Number 5 for me, is the Cleveland Browns. I think after all that adversity, no matter what quarterback you put in, Joe Flacco seems like the okay guy, just a guy that kind of steadies the ship. And then defensively, they've been banged up, but they have enough stars on that defensive end to make a game pretty low scoring and make an impact. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think they have the least experienced quarterback at the top 4 teams. And Lamar doesn't have much experience, but I think he's a better quarterback. And I think with this Miami team, you're still kind of waiting for that performance from the defensive side on an elite team. You're still waiting for that high-powered offensive game or just that high-powered complete game. Number 3, I'm going to go Chiefs. I think, most of this is just Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think, honestly, this offense is lackluster. It doesn't have the talent. Travis Kelce, like you mentioned, Waddle doesn't look healthy. Travis Kelce also doesn't look too much healthy. He kind of looks of age and banged up. Defensively, this grade is elite, but I don't know. I don't know if I can trust. I love Mahomes. He's a GOAT, but I don't know. I don't love Mahomes. I don't know why I said that.
What the hell was that about?
I respect Mahomes.
Yeah, I respect Mahomes. I think he can push the pace, but I don't know if his receivers are gonna fuck up, get a flag in the fourth quarter in a playoff moment. And then number 2, I got Baltimore. Man, this team is elite on both sides of the ball. That running game is legit. But you mentioned it. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers is a rookie. They've had times throughout the season of drop problems. Odell's good. He's kind of back, but this they still show too many times this year dropping the ball, missing out. They've had too many games where they should have won, and something just happened where they lost in the fourth quarter. Put the camera on me.
Okay, give me 1 second, sir.
Lock in right now.
All right, here we go. I mean, I can't just zoom in.
The camera's on.
No, it was a fake. Like, put the camera on.
Okay.
It is.
Number 1 is the Buffalo Bills. They are going to win the division, finish out this year, win a division. Josh Allen's going to win MVP, and they're going to the AFC Championship game. This is the year. This is the year where they put it all together. They saved Sean McDermott's job. Brady becomes this god in Buffalo. Josh Allen puts on a show. I mean, like, what you've seen from the Eagles game and what you've seen from the Chiefs game should give you enough confidence. And if he goes in Buffalo, they got Dallas coming in there. If he goes in there, he destroys shit in there. it's all fate and destiny. Every team has a weakness. We mentioned it, but this Buffalo team is streaking at the right time. And in my opinion, they have the best quarterback in the league right now that's playing like the best. And this is a guy that just has shown you nothing but no fear, aura. Like a lot of these lefties don't got aura. I mean, and a lot of these quarterbacks right now
Vic,
complaining to the refs. This guy Josh Allen, every podium. We got to get better. It's on me. We're gonna get better. Playoff mode. Playoff mode.
Tua does it, I guess,
and
right?
what does he do? Something we've probably never seen a quarterback do. Backpedal. 2 guys running to him. A guy in front of him ready to pick him off.
Coming right at him.
Boom. Coming right. 3 men coming right at him. And what did he do? Deflect the come and throw it. It's insane to me, bro. And I think they're gonna do it, man. I think they're gonna get to the AFC Championship game. So I got the Bills at 1, man. We locking in right now for that. We're gonna lock in for that.
What's your list, Dehls? I'm curious to hear your list.
Yo, hold on.
I know River said something crazy.
Deflect and come and then throw. Like, what do we do? Come on, fellas. Lighten up. Let's get into it. Lock in.
All right, I like that list.
I think what Riv is just said about Josh Allen. Listen, I think Josh Allen is phenomenal. I really do. And this kind of brings me to something that you guys have kind of mocked for a long time, and that is being a fan of players within your own division. While I never want the Bills to beat the Jets, Josh Allen is somebody that I love to watch, and I'm not shy in saying that. Josh Allen is one of the most entertaining quarterbacks, and I think very early in the season he got a lot of slander for the turnovers, but Josh Allen, despite the turnovers, still is able to have the output of one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And every single week you see highlight plays like the one he made versus KC. And that's why he's the second best quarterback in the league to me, with just accounting for everything. I still have Mahomes 1, but Allen is the closest thing to Mahomes in the NFL.
Do you enjoy watching Tua play?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure. So Riv, before I go.
What's funny? Tua's box office #1 in terms of votes for the Pro Bowl. Do you know that?
That's such a funny no. Like, no, I really don't enjoy watching.
Please recap your list, and then I'll go. Just so we get it quick, just so I can remember.
Oh, I can remember. 7 Jags, 6 Broncos,
Idiot. 5
Cleveland, 4 Miami, 3 Chiefs, 2 Baltimore, and 1 Bills motherfucking Mafia. We're here.
Okay, I like that. My 7 are pretty similar to yours, but there is one big difference between me and Rivs. I have the Cleveland Browns at 7. I do feel like while Joe Flacco has been playing well, I feel like at some point shit just not going to go well. He's going to have a game where he has a lot of turnovers, sacks, whatever the case might be. This defense is 3 games in a row now allowing 27 or more points. I know they got some injuries. Miles Garrett's been banged up. Denzel Ward's 2 of their top guys. The way their defense is playing right now, it's not that same dominating defense. The ceiling on this team feels limited, which is why I have the Jags.
He throws context out when it comes to the Browns. He doesn't care.
It's the reason why I have the Jags 1 spot higher, because the defense sucks. I acknowledge that. But Trevor Lawrence on a bum ankle, we didn't even know if he was going to play.
No, Flacco just beat him.
I understand that.
Don't give a fuck about that.
But Trevor Lawrence,
he threw
bad
multiple
ankle.
Picks. He looked.
I was going to say this was not a great Trevor Lawrence game, and they were right into the end.
They were.
You texted the chat. Even if Trevor Lawrence
you got out
plays,
nasty. You got out nasty.
I still would pick them. So you felt even on the bad ankle, Lawrence was gonna light shit up.
I
to be fair,
too. I thought so too.
And you were fucking wrong.
They moved the ball.
Mickey Mouse W for you too.
He doesn't deserve that W.
No, Santos, but I respect him for staying consistent. Santos has stayed consistent all year long. But it was Mickey Mouse's shit.
I Santos. I didn't want to get into the way one bird. No, that's why Santos
should have been a no win, no loss.
I'll take the win. But yeah, 7 Browns, 6 Jags.
Who's 3 ahead?
When Trevor Lawrence is 100%, saw last year the big comeback win the playoffs. I trust them to be able to do that. I don't trust the Browns as much. 5, I got your Denver Broncos. I do trust the defense. They're able to turn the ball over. They get some stops. They can rush the pass. They can do a little bit of everything. That offense with Russell Wilson, I still got some questions about. If they're going to have to go up against some of these top teams in the AFC, can the defense still shut down that level? And can Russell Wilson and that offense still keep up with some of the, favorable things that gone your way here and there? That's all I'm going to say.
What's favorable?
The entire Bills game. Moving on. Excuse me? Moving on. Number 4, this is where I got the Miami Dolphins. Defense has been playing better. But this last game is going to be hard to get out of my head. This was an offense that's been really firing on all cylinders throughout most of the season, but you saw just one little thing go wrong, and it felt like everything went to shit. It was a team loss. The The defense just fell apart at the end, but also got to look at that offense. Mike McDaniel, Tua, everybody wasn't a great showing. At 3, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I just said in the last segment, I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. They're still in this top 3 because I do think they'd be able to beat teams like Miami, the Broncos, the Jaguars, just because you still have Patrick Mahomes in an elite defense. 2, I have the Buffalo Bills. I think, Riv, what you said is right. No team wants to play them right now. They got Dallas. This is going to be one of the biggest games of the season. Dallas at Buffalo, probably 2 of the best teams in football right now, even though at least Buffalo's side record-wise might not see it. But the Bills defense has been playing better, and Josh Allen is playing like the best, if not second best quarterback in the NFL. Number 1, though. Man, Ravens flock. This could be the year, man. Lamar Jackson playing at MVP type level. He did have a, beginning of that game yesterday, I thought it was going to be a stat pattern type game for him. I thought maybe, like 300, 400 total yards, a lot of touchdowns. Did put up a lot of points, did have that good statistical game, but no video games like numbers, which I really, really wanted. And this defense, I know it didn't have the greatest game against the Rams, but I do think that has more to do with the Rams than the Ravens. I'm going to have the Rams for the first time in my top 10. They've been playing some great football. Puka, Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams has been phenomenal. But the Ravens right now, the way they're playing complementary football, offense, defense, can run, can pass. And Isaiah Likely, of course, Mark Andrews is a big loss. Isaiah Likely, he's not that caliber of tight end, but he's a quality kind of backup tight end who could come in there. He's explosive. We saw him have that big touchdown during that game too. So I like Baltimore right now.
Joel, DG is cooking. He might have hit 21 or at least 20 right now.
Yeah, I seen it. He has 18 right now. I just need a couple more points from him.
Yes, sir, brother, man. Just one more 3. Oh, and a layup. You good?
Now, I like your guys' list. They make a lot of sense. And I will say, before all the injuries to the Miami Dolphins, I most definitely would have had them number 1. Losing Connor Williams for the season is absolutely gutting because that means Liam Eichenberg has to be your center for the rest of the season. And I've seen him play on the line for the Miami Dolphins, and every single time it's excruciating. He's not good. So now let's go over my list. Number 7, Riv, no slight, Cleveland Browns. Defense is awesome, but Joe Flacco is the quarterback. That's all I have in my notes, Joe Flacco. He played a very solid game against the Jaguars. Against the Rams, I don't think he did play particularly bad, but down the stretch kind of blew it. Did throw that interception over the top. That kind of dwarfed their comeback. Of course, Joe Flacco of this bunch would be the worst quarterback of the group. Number 6, I do have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've been very vocal, very consistent. I don't like this defense. The Cleveland Browns, Joe Flacco went in there, and David Njoku, more importantly, went in there and dominated that matchup. So I just can't look at the Jaguars competing for the Lombardi at the end of the season. Next on my list, I'm sorry, guys, and I don't feel bad about this, not even a little bit. The Kansas City Chiefs.
We're not sure.
This offense means nothing to me.
We're like not sure.
This offense means nothing to me. This defense is great. No, they're not 6. They're 5.
Oh, my bad.
They're 5.
Is Denver over them?
I definitely do because our defense is fantastic. Russell Wilson,
you trust your offense more than theirs?
Russell Wilson right now, number 1 in game-winning drives. Courtland Sutton has been one of the most dominant receivers when it comes to being in the red zone. And when it comes to contested catches, you're right. He's right there, arguably at the top of the list. And did you see that catch that he had?
That was nuts.
60. You know what's funny about that? Because I said, hey, he damn near threw that ball 60 yards last week to Marvin Mims. That was supposed to be pass interference, but Joel said, hey, you throw it 65, he might have a touchdown there. So what does he do this week? 60 air yards on that throw to Courtland Sutton, and Courtland Sutton says, fuck 2 hands. I just need 1. Oh my God, it was crazy. No, but the Kansas City Chiefs, I probably should have the Dolphins here, but I really don't care too much because this Kansas City Chiefs offense, I can't trust right now. And it's not because of Mahomes. It's not because of Reed. It's not because of Kelsey. These are obviously the foundational pieces to this team and why a lot of people would favor the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's the pieces around them. I like Rashee Rice as much as the next guy, but if Rashee Rice, your wide receiver 1, I do have trouble seeing the success that this offense can have come postseason time. We're seeing the offense struggle right now more than we've seen it ever in the Mahomes, Andy Reid, Kelsey tenure. But I feel as if there's nobody that they can get that would better their situation right now. And again, like I've already said, Rashee Rice is good. He's talented, but everyone around them, it's very concerning to me. And this is probably the most Kelsey-like game that we've seen from him in some time. He seemed his most healthiest, his yards after the catch, his ability to get open. That obviously was a great sign. But in the grand scheme of things, I can't say that I trust the Kansas City Chiefs more than I trust the rest of these teams. Now, next on my list is going to be the Miami Dolphins. I do worry about the injuries on this team. Teron Armstead, you can't trust that he's going to be consistently in the lineup. Connor Williams out for the season. Robert Hunt injured. Coming into this game, Javon Holland did not play. Jalen Phillips out for the rest of the season. What was Greer's big move after they go and they lose? Not to sign an all offensive lineman, but to go get Melvin Ingram to heal the void of needing an extra pass rusher. Melvin Ingram at this point in time, who does have a tenure with Miami Fair, but at the same time, that's not the move that I wanted to see. You go and you need to get to some help on that offensive line, no doubt about it. So I do worry about the Dolphins because of the injuries and the way that they're starting to pile up as we get towards the end of the season. But if Tyreek's on the field, if Teron and Robert Hunt can get back healthy and stay in the lineup consistently, you trust that 3 of the 5 offensive linemen, as good as those 3 are, that they can be there, that they're still able to compete at a high level. And this defense, although it did collapse last night versus Tennessee, we've seen them since that game versus the Chiefs really turn things around, get pressure on the quarterback. They're one of the best at sacking the quarterback. And that was another reason why they came up a little bit short. They could not get that sack on Will Levis. He was just getting the ball out right in the nick of time. And the one that sticks out most to me was that one where Bradley Chubb had him wrapped up. That to bring him to the ground. But Will Levis is a strong-ass dude. Lowered his shoulder on Jalen Ramsey after escaping a sack from Bradley Chubb. More credit needs to be given to Will Levis. He had himself an amazing ball game on Monday
penalty
night.
On that too to make it even worse,
which was crazy too. Chubb kind of gifted him that red zone opportunity there because especially he misses the sack, kind of just loses himself in that moment, also gets the penalty like you mentioned. But a healthy Miami definitely is higher on this list, but right now where we currently stand, I got to put them at number 4. Number 3 is going to be my Denver Broncos. If we had another option outside of Courtland Sutton, and I'm talking about Jerry Jeudy because I gave him the benefit of the doubt against the Texans. He was open multiple times. Russ did not hit him. How many times this week did we see versus the Chargers, Jerry Jeudy screw Russell Wilson, screw this offense, and leave us with probably 13 to maybe even 20 points that could have been put on the board for us, that Jerry Jeudy just lets the ball go and it falls out of his hands or can't get 2 feet in bounds. I'm here excited because, I'm always going to root for Jerry Jeudy. When we drafted him, I was thrilled. I could not believe that he made it to pick 15. I'm here now in excruciating pain because we could have CeeDee Lamb or we could have Justin Jefferson. But instead we have Jerry Jeudy, who's been nothing but a disappointment for the Broncos up until this point in time. And it sucks because of just the inconsistency that he shows. Because some nights, like we saw against the Texans, he can get open on a consistent basis. But a big problem of his has been drops. And that was definitely on full display versus the Chargers. But this defense has been insanely amazing. Number 1 in takeaways in the entire year. Look at our defense in terms of yards allowed. We're still bottom 4 in the league because of how terrible we were early on in the season. But since the win streak started, we are 6-1 in that time. We are the number 3 defense in terms of EPA per play, 6th in terms of rush EPA per play. And why I highlight that is because early in the season, we were the worst rush defense by far. And number 2 in terms of dropback EPA behind the Jets, who, in my opinion, have been the best defense this season. It's just they're being held back by a mediocre offense, but was great against the Texans, no doubt about it. Number 2 is going to be the Buffalo Bills. With the way that Josh Allen has been playing, he's been playing at an MVP level. And Riv, I think your take was perfectly timed and definitely one that can come into fruition. And you look like a genius. But the defense definitely still a concern. You look at the middle of the field without Matt Milano, their opposing offenses are targeting the middle of the field, and they're having success. When Matt Milano was out there, obviously he's one of the better coverage linebackers. His presence is missed. But that they've been able to execute at a high level against the Chiefs, maybe we can credit that to the Bills' defense being locked down. But also I still feel as if something's just not clicking with this Chiefs offense. And number 1, the Baltimore Ravens, the most complete team right now in the AFC, the most confident team that you could feel with in the AFC. Lamar Jackson puts on a masterclass against the Rams. Listen, you say that he looked like he was on his way to stat pad. He still had over 300 yards,
he had a
3
great
touchdowns.
He
was fantastic against the Rams, and the Rams defense that's been playing very solid. but the defense got gashed. And like you said, you want to credit that to the Rams. That's fine. I definitely agree. You know my opinion on the Rams, but you're going to face high-level offenses. You're gonna have to lock up. We've seen the Ravens defense be able to do that. So let's not use one game and blow it out of proportion. But the way that Lamar Jackson has been playing these last couple of weeks with Odell Beckham, he seems to be getting extremely comfortable in this situation. Last 2 weeks, we've seen Zay Flowers on the field, touchdowns in back-to-back games. He had 2 the game versus the Chargers, had 1 this week. He looks to be the explosive player that they thought they were getting come draft time. If Mark Andrews was on this team, like Joel was saying earlier, most definitely this is easily the number 1 team. But with the way that Odell Beckham has been playing, with the way that we see Lamar Jackson confidently targeting a Rashad Bateman, confidently targeting a Zay Flowers, this offense, I mean, I'm still left feeling that this is the most trustworthy team because they're one of the best defenses. And with Lamar Jackson, you trust that this team can be and have success offensively. It is down to playoffs. With Lamar's history, we haven't seen him be the most successful. But with this supporting cast, it seems as if it's on trajectory to be the best supporting cast he's had. It's not written off that Mark Andrews can't come back. There is a small possibility that they've mentioned early on that he can return back to the field. But of course,
did they say when? Like
AFC
Championship?
See, that's what I'm not sure of. But they're saying that there's a chance his season's not over. If he can come back middle of the playoffs, that gives the Ravens an insane boost where they're already looking as if they're going to be the number 1 seed with Miami losing last night. With that having all being said, with them being the number 1 seed, you feel most confident with the Baltimore Ravens. So to repeat, I have the Browns dead last. I have the Jaguars at 6. Number 5, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, the Miami Dolphins. Number 3, my Denver Broncos. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. And number 1, the Baltimore Ravens.
I like that. How happy were you when you were going through this and you put Kansas City that low?
Oh my, like a pig in shit. I was just through the moon. The Kansas City Chiefs, of course, I'm always going to be more critical of them than everybody else.
So you were talking for
I've
an
been.
hour.
You forgot you were doing a podcast?
Yeah, like, it was.
You thought you were watching one, huh?
Yeah, not for real. It really felt like a long. Not because you were talking. You just sometimes the way you talk feels like you've been talking for a long time.
I mean, I don't know how to fix that. You know, it's just me.
No, it's you, bro. You're a talker. Talk too fucking much.
Again,
Kind of his job.
You know, the thing about this is that, I mean, having Casey that low is laughable. It really is. Even with all their issues, when you explained having the Chiefs at 5, I just trust these teams more than the Chiefs. You trust Tua over Mahomes?
That's not what I said. All I said was, I don't give a fuck. You trust. Listen, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed. That's not the issue. But again, that hasn't been enough to elevate you to the heights that we've seen in history.
They are first in the AFC West at 8-4, and will most likely finish the season at 12. No, they're 8-5. My bad. And they will most likely finish the season at 12-5, which will be the 6th time.
Now, let me ask you, gentlemen, a question. Against the Bengals, you favor the Kansas City Chiefs because they are the Chiefs. Is there not an outside chance that the Bengals are going to win
that game?
Now, let me ask you a question. What happens when Bill Belichick faces the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Chiefs can't score 20 points?
Dude, they lose to Bill Belichick. He's good.
What happens if they lose to New England?
They're not listening.
They shouldn't lose to New England. They shouldn't lose.
I'd be appalled. I also don't.
What happens if they lose to New England? I'm kind of feeling similarly to how I felt when the Dolphins just blew it to the Titans. I mean, did the Dolphins not just blow a game to the Titans?
No, but it was a terrible loss for the Dolphins. It was really bad, like historically bad loss.
So how
nobody's ever lost.
So how are they over the Chiefs?
So good.
Say it again.
So how are they over the Chiefs? And
because the
Chiefs can win that game 13-7.
They can. No, of course. I'm just saying that the Dolphins. That if New England locks them up, it's just going to heighten more of how I feel about this offense. Even though New England's defense is great, they've been one of the better under the radar defenses because they're not winning games. You're going to face high level defenses, and with what we've seen from the Miami Dolphins against the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes and company did not have their best game. I feel better about the Dolphins because on both sides of the ball, I trust their team to have success. Now, their defense did have a collapse down the stretch, but again, I still look at this team as being unhealthy and missing 4 offensive linemen that they'll eventually have down the stretch. And this offense is kind of going through a low right now, but I pair that with not having your offensive linemen, with Tyreek Hill also being in and out of the lineup last night. I still feel like I trust this offense, regardless of how you feel about Tua Tagovailoa or not. He's still been able to be one of the most successful quarterbacks this season. He's going to be one of the best, one of the best records. Pair that with a great defense, even though I had a little bit of a slip up yesterday. I trust that the Dolphins can.
As long as
I just trust the team as a whole. They're better all around.
Whose defense is better, the Chiefs or Dolphins?
The Chiefs' defense probably is better.
I mean, listen, if you're telling me the defense for the Chiefs is better, and then I got to count on
Slightly.
Mahomes to figure the offense out.
Slightly.
I mean, listen, I'm going to count on Mahomes. I understand why you have your list the way you have it. I'm not shocked at all.
You shouldn't be.
But Jake Browning, I want to just hit on this point. He's playing great football for what they're asking him to do. This is how backup quarterback cycles go. Backup quarterbacks come in, they have some success, and then after like 2-3 weeks, they start to go back down to earth, and you're like, okay, this is why he's a backup. It happened with Josh Dobbs in Arizona and Minnesota this year, and it's going to happen to Jake Browning this year. I don't know when it's going to be, but I mean, he's not going to be playing this way, and I don't think the Bengals. I don't think
Darnold taking a Purdy spot. Maybe we was talking about the wrong guy. You know,
I don't think the Bengals and Chiefs is going to be an upset at all. Like I think the Chiefs will comfortably win that game.
All I'm saying is the Titans went out there and they did some historic shit, and then Green Bay lost to Tommy DeVito. So at this point of the season, anything could fucking happen.
I'm with you.
Can Jake Browning go out there and stink it up? Yeah. Can Jake Browning go out there and do just enough where the Bengals beat the Chiefs because the Chiefs can't score?
The best third down quarterback in the NFL since taking over.
The Chiefs can't score. We're forgetting that.
Amazing against the Jaguars. He was damn near amazing against the Colts.
We just watched Joe Flacco win a game in 2023.
Half the quarterbacks right now are fucking like backups, and
anything can happen.
Would I be shocked if the Chiefs made it to the fucking AFC Championship?
Yes.
Probably not. Mahomes has just tortured me for the last 5 years, of course. But with what I've seen from this offense, taking that aside, unbiasedly, this offense genuinely has not been good.
It sucks.
It really hasn't.
Sucks.
This defense really has been the cornerstone of this team so far. And they did a great job of limiting Josh Allen in that second half. First half, Josh Allen looked like Superman. He looked fantastic. But in that second half, the Chiefs were still able to execute, left Mahomes an opportunity. There's been multiple times where the defense has given Patrick Mahomes an opportunity to win the game this season, and they haven't been able to do so. This is the first time that we've seen that in Mahomes' career.
That's a fact.
So that's the only reason why I do have my reservations about them. Last year, that, of course, fell on Death's Year, where you had, or Death's Door, excuse me, where my issue was no Tyreek Hill. Hey, I don't think this offense can still be that successful. Mahomes shut me up. Won the MVP, was number one offense. This season, again, I guess a year early, right, where this offense has not been the same. Yes, you're like you said early on, the noise about needing Tyreek Hill, they put that to bed when they won the Super Bowl last year. But that holds true this year, where they are missing that true dog at wide receiver and having to rely on Rashee Rice, a rookie, as your wide receiver one. When Andy Reid, for what history has shown us, that has not been the case. It speaks more about the situation than it does, of course, about Mahomes, Andy Reid. We know that they're amazing. It's the situation around. Sometimes you simply just don't have the personnel. That's football. It's a team sport.
I understand that, but I feel like we talk about the Chiefs as if they're going out there and having 150 yards of total offense. Against the Bills, they had 346 yards of total offense. They had more yards of offense than the Bills. And a touchdown got called back because Kadarius Toney was offsides and he made a dumb play.
But it also was an insane play. Like
it was an insane play, but that's an insane design that I trust Andy Reid to dial up.
No, it wasn't. I think Kelsey gets the green light to do whatever he wants, and he made that lateral.
He made an IQ move. That was IQ,
which was a 10 out of 10 execution as well.
Like, I think the Chiefs are really a couple mental mistakes away from being a top offense in the league again. I don't think they're that far off. The receivers, it's going to be an issue. I know that.
Yeah.
I think Rashee Rice is awesome, but I think he realistically is like the fourth option on a high-powered offense as a receiver. You know, I think with the Chiefs, you get Kelsey, and maybe in the offseason you add a reliable slot and a deep down the field threat that can consistently win one-on-one. And then Rashee can win in certain ways, but he can't win consistently versus man.
Yep.
But I think the Chiefs and Andy Reid, he can dial up enough things to make opposing defenses pay, especially in the AFC. There aren't teams defensively that can consistently stop anybody. Outside of the Ravens defense, every defense in the AFC is kind of, they're beatable. You know, the Broncos are kind of teetering in that territory, but all those defenses are pretty much beatable. So I'm still not worried about the Chiefs. I'm not.
One thing I'll say about the Dolphins, their rush defense has been at the forefront of how elite their defense has been. All season long, that's been the one consistent factor. Where we saw last night, they were able to limit Derrick Henry to under 35 yards, I believe. I think it was 34. And I think they did too much of trying to sell out against the run, where they felt as if Will Levis couldn't beat them, and then Will Levis started dotting up and kind of just started to gash them, and they couldn't adjust accordingly. Definitely, we look onto coaching and not adjusting and making adjustments on the fly. But I still trust the Dolphins defense. Without Javon Holland, of course, that's a big loss, and no Jalen Phillips, where at least Javon should be back. No Jalen Phillips rest of the season. I still believe that the Miami Dolphins defense can do a job.
Are we going to do this week in the NFL?
Of course. Let's go.
Yeah,
Do you have yours, Mr. Moran?
I do. Before I go, I just want to read these lovely super chats because they were nice enough to donate to us. This is for you, Drew. Drew, why do you think the Jags defense is overrated?
Their secondary is not that good. Rush defense is right. That's like the good part about them.
They got to do a lot of analysis.
It's really
they give up a lot of points, let up a lot of yards.
Give up a ton of yards. Unfortunately, they also let up a lot of points. Yeah. There it is.
Jeremy Early goes, Lamar goes on this run and wrecks the 49ers. Respect him. Hardest schedule left. The MVP will be his, averaging 32 points per game over the last 7 games. Don't sleep.
Lamar against the Rams put himself back into the conversation. He needed a special game, and that definitely is what it was.
Chris Bass goes, the money goes to Drew as a formal apology. I would like to apologize for my words early this year saying he's him. Desmond Ridder is so ass.
Hey, Desmond Ritter's coming off damn near a career day, probably. I don't know if that's his most ever, but he had over 300 yards, touchdowns. He was doing his thing. Put the team in position to win. Left the field winning, as we like to say.
And when it comes to Drake London, I have him in fantasy football in so many leagues. I want Desmond Ridder on the field because he force feeds Drake London. Desmond Ridder is definitely not good per se. Like I would not. He's definitely not. He's like slightly under average. He's not a starting level quarterback on a consistent basis, but he has shown slight progression throughout this season as a passer. Can give credit where credit is due there, but yeah, he's not that good.
And he sent another super chat saying, one more before I go back to work. Ravens will be in the Super Bowl this year, and the Rams can easily be in the NFC Championship this year.
Dark horse. Rams is dark horse for sure.
It's tough sledding right now because aren't they 5-7 where we currently stand right now?
No. I thought they were 6-7.
I think they're 6-7.
Okay. Yeah. All right, which is definitely obviously better. 5-7 doesn't make sense. That's only
there's really only
games.
2 wildcard spots though, because Dallas has got one locked up, right? They're gonna have double-digit wins, so you really only got 2 other spots in the NFC wildcard race.
Hold on, I'm looking at it right now. 6-7. Okay, that's obviously better than 5-7. But let me look at the last couple of teams for the NFC. Green Bay 6-7. All right, it's definitely doable because the Vikings are 7-6, and honestly, they could be the team that fall out.
They do have the Niners week 18, but the next 3 weeks are Commanders, Saints, and Giants. So very winnable games.
And the Rams play the Niners very well.
A. Lorks goes, how the fuck does a DC do an amazing job against elite quarterbacks but fold under pressure against bad quarterbacks? Yes, I'm talking about Joe Barry, that bum. Packers still making the playoffs. Go, Pack, go.
Talk to me, Mr. Moran.
Listen, man, this week in the NFL, I actually have I'm going to scrap the one I had because I know y'all want to talk about Jordan Love and this and that. When you've been great for the last 5 games, you got some room to have a below average performance. He wasn't his best against the Giants. That being said, fourth quarter, he was amazing. In the fourth quarter, Anders Carlson, the brother of Daniel Carlson, he missed a field goal, then made one later in the fourth. And then Jordan Love drove down the field and got a touchdown for the Packers and made back-to-back gorgeous plays. One of the plays was on 3rd down to Malik Heath. He hit him on a dime with pressure in his face, but Malik Heath dropped it, even though I think that should have been a touchdown because he he had 2 feet on the ground in the end zone. So I thought that should have been a touchdown. And then Malik Heath got a touchdown on 4th down. So I think Jordan Love, he over the course of the game handled the pressure well that Wink Martindale sent. It wasn't the cleanest game, but we're talking about somebody who's coming off a 3-game stretch where he has been shredding. I mean, he's allowed a game where he's not the best. I still think the Packers make the playoffs. They will win 3 of the next 4 games. They'll finish 9-8 or 10-7, and they'll comfortably make the playoffs.
The game that they were supposed to lose was against the Chiefs. So again, they were allowed one, but this was supposed to be a gimme game for them. Jordan definitely clutched up at the end. That's what you want to see when you're not playing your best in the biggest moments. He put his team in position, like Joel said, he did leave the field winning. You got to give credit to the other side. That's also in due part to my this week in the NFL. Shout out to Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets, man.
The guy goes and he leads a game-winning drive on Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, listen, I know you guys are going to want to hear it from me. Daniel Jones has been falling short on that Monday Night Football every single time he's played there. I don't think he has a single Monday Night Football.
About those quarterbacks.
No, let's have a conversation.
Should we rank the Giants quarterbacks?
If you want to do that, you want to know why it's funny to me? Because last night's game from Tommy Cutlets, where he walked away with the W, that is the most important thing. What are you going to say? This is a Daniel Jones type game, correct?
In what sense?
And he doesn't throw for over 200 yards. Mm-hmm. He has almost 100 yards rushing. Facts. Doesn't look the prettiest. Yeah. Pretty efficient, clean.
Tommy DeVito's $40 million. Cheaper.
And that's fine. But again, you praise him because he won. He's also a rookie, undrafted. The story is beautiful. A kid from Jersey. I'll always want that story to be at the forefront, and I want to see him have success in this league. Absolutely. I'm not here to tear him down by any means. But again, Daniel Jones last season was playing at a very consistent level week to week with not the best of weapons around him, similar to a Tommy Cutlets at this point right now too. But the difference from Daniel Jones this year and Tommy is that he has had the luxury of playing with Andrew Thomas. This offensive line has played a lot better with Tommy at quarterback because they have one of the best left tackles in the game playing. When Daniel Jones was playing, he was dealing with that hamstring injury, and he was getting sacked left and right. When Tyra was in at quarterback, he also did not play with Andrew Thomas. He was getting sacked left and right. Andrew Thomas now comes in. We know the impact that he has on a football field. We saw it last year. We see it this year. And Tommy has been very careful with the ball, making some smart decisions. He had a missed throw early in the game, but then played a very clean game after that. Hit a similar throw on the opposite side of the field that he missed to Wandale that ended up putting them in game-winning situation to kick that field goal. Just got to give credit where credit is due. But at the same time, Daniel Jones was put in a situation this season that was not opportune for him whatsoever. With no Andrew Thomas, Saquon Barkley missing time, Darren Waller missing time, one of the worst offensive lines in football. It was nowhere in his power that he could have done anything to be successful. But again, credit to the kid for being able to come in as a rookie, win ball games 3 in a row, the first rookie quarterback ever to win their first starts consecutively without throwing an interception. He's been awesome. So you got to give credit where credit is due there.
What Drew just said, sorry, Dehls. What Drew just said was Tommy DeVito playing well, but Daniel Jones is better. That's what he basically said.
I still do believe he's better.
I just want to give this out there. I mean, you mentioned how Daniel Jones played really well last year, 15 passing touchdowns, career year for him.
22 total, rush for almost 800 yards, playoff win against a 13-win team. Yes, finish the context.
Tommy DeVito has 8 passing touchdowns in 6 starts this year, which is actually on pace for a 16-game pace to be more than the 15 passing touchdowns that Daniel Jones eclipsed in his career breakout year last season. And Tommy Cutlets is using his legs. I mean, Dehls, if we're ranking the Giants quarterbacks, I mean, number one, you got to rank Tommy DeVito up there. I mean, what he's doing, he's number one. Number two, I mean, Tyrod Taylor, I think is number 2 comfortably.
You got to put him one for obvious reasons.
Yes. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor's up there. He's a great deep ball thrower. And then number 3 is Daniel Jones. I mean, when you talk about his game, you talk about his price, I mean, he has to be number 3. He has to be, right?
The most expensive.
The price is the worst thing. That's really where it comes down to that. I can't argue too much.
DG hit, Joel.
Let's go.
But Tommy DeVito is probably, saving Daniel Jones' job. Because if the Giants were ass and they got a number 2 pick, he would have undoubtedly got.
He still might be gone.
They would have played him one more year, and then they would have moved on.
Or
No.
in the opposite direction, maybe they're going to win just enough games where the Giants weren't comfortable taking Jaden Daniels at 5 or 6, but if he's there at 10 or 11, maybe they take Jaden Daniels.
Do you think he goes 10 or 11 now after winning the Heisman?
Who knows?
I feel like we'll get closer to draft time, and his draft stock will go.
I don't know if he's going to go top 5 though.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Just because we saw his draft time got closer, we saw Anthony Richardson keep climbing. With the way it goes with quarterbacks, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a fact. But I'll move on to my this week in the NFL. I got 2. Number 1, sadly, Justin Herbert, fractured finger, going to be gone for the rest of the season. It's been a tough season for the Chargers. You know, I had some high hopes for them coming into the season with Kellen Moore and company, but injuries. And honestly, even when they were on the field, you know, this last month or so, it feels like the offense was sputtering a bit, very Keenan Allen dependent. It feels like they need kind of a reset overall on this team, coaching staff, new offensive weapons. They have some talent on the defense, but it feels like kind of more names than actual talent. They have some holes really on all levels of this team, the offensive line as well. So, you know, prayers Justin Herbert, just fractured finger. He should be fine. But the other one, Joel, I'm surprised this wasn't yours. How about our guy, Zach Wilson, man? 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 118 passer rating. The Jets dominate the Texans 30-6. And I just want to get a pulse check real quick on Twin over here, Riv. Doesn't have Tank Dell. Nico Collins gets injured. Who knows how long he's going to be out for. Dalton Schultz has already missed some time.
Tough situation right now, man.
90 yards on 10 completions. It wasn't pretty. How are you feeling about the Texans right now, sitting at 7-6 with injuries to CJ Stroud, concussion protocol, and their best weapons?
Shit?
I don't think he is because I think no quarterback has played well against Jets. So I'm perfectly fine with getting locked up by the Jets. That shit doesn't hurt me at all. And then the fact that he lost his top receiver, then his tight end, it's tough. I don't know. And he's in concussion protocol, so I don't even know if he's going to play this week. So honestly, they already
he's talking about fantasy football. That's all he's doing.
Okay. They already exceeded expectations, man.
They did.
So they don't need to do too much. The goal was trying to get to the playoffs, but if they don't make it, they're fine regardless.
I was talking about this on the fantasy reaction. I think you play it safe than sorry with CJ Stroud.
Same thing the Colts did. Play it safe.
Definitely. I think that his situation definitely was different because he had to have his shoulder repaired after the AC injury. But at the same time, no Nico, no Tank. Dalton Schultz probably is not going to play this week. I think you play it safe with him. Sit him a game. If you need to sit him 2, that's fine. He's already shown you more than you ever anticipated coming into the season. He's put you in a position that you weren't expecting. I understand that you don't have your first-round pick. That might be the primary reason why you do bring CJ Stroud out there. So, yeah, there is a chance for them to still win some games if you put CJ out there. But this wasn't an ideal matchup for CJ. I felt that way coming in. Still a rookie. Jets defense has been playing at an elite level. But if CJ is going to miss 2 games, I'm fine with that. If I'm a Texans fan, I'll live. What's your this weekend?
I do have one. It correlates to Green Bay losing. Ha, 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 ha. Did you know that the Chicago Bears are 1 game behind the Green Bay Packers in the division?
Oh,
did you also know the Chicago Bears are 1 game out of tying for the last wild card spot entering Week 15?
The Bears have been.
Did you know the Chicago Bears own the number 1 pick by 2 games? Did you also know the Chicago Bears are 3-1 in their last 4? Did you know the Chicago Bears have won back-to-back division games? Did you know the Bears also have Justin Fields playing like a good-ass quarterback?
He is.
Listen, I'm not going to say the Bears are going to make the playoffs.
But
they've been hooping. And I think you got to give them some credit. You know, it was a lot of talks about the Bears moving off of Justin Fields, and he's not the guy. And whatever his name is.
Eberflus, go ahead.
Not doing good.
Here we go.
It's Bears-Browns this week.
Yeah. We'll talk. When we get to Patreon, we'll lock in on that.
What are you going to do?
I'm not
fucking
I know who I'm picking.
You know, it's been.
Are you going to ride?
I'm talking. Thank you. It's been a lot of noise on Chicago, and I just want to give some credit to Justin Fields. He's been hooping, doing his thing. DJ Moore, you know, he just broke a record for Chicago. I think he already eclipsed his touchdown receptions for most of his career. So him and Justin Fields have had this great connection. The defense, Montez Sweat, the guy they were shitting on. He's been playing well. He has 3.5 sacks in his last 3 games. They've been hooping on the defensive side. So just credit to Chicago. They have completely been playing great their last 4 games. If they finish off the season great, my overreaction doesn't look like overreaction too much.
What was your reaction?
Fields stays the quarterback. They trade the number 1 pick. They hoop like this and Fields keeps balling.
Glad you're finally realizing that the Chicago Bears are good.
I've been realizing.
Oh, have you? Then why didn't you pick him last week?
You have because I didn't pick him one time.
Well, you're supposed to be every week.
You
I'm
thought
blindly
Detroit was
picking
good, and you didn't pick Detroit
because I knew that they aren't that good anymore.
Well, good.
So lock in.
I still love Chicago.
You should.
I love Chicago.
They're pretty lit.
You fell off.
They're in a great position. I didn't fall off. I've actually been here.
What's your 10 teams?
Oh
wait.
What do you mean?
We have the overreactions. Come on. Do you have a would you rather, Riv?
No, Riv's going crazy right now.
Well,
no, he has a would you rather.
We already skipped up the fuck up already.
No, I folded when it came to the prize.
Dehls, who's your would you rather? Because me and you both have one.
No, I don't.
You told me you did.
No, he said he did.
I looked at you and I said, "Do you have the would you rather?"
I do have one, but you said you did. So I thought.
No, I said if you don't, like, I'll make one.
Okay. All right. I have one.
This guy does now.
Here we go. Would you rather Dak Prescott?
Okay.
Obviously, we got to lock in. Give the guy some shine for
MVP
hooping.
Dak.
MVP Dak is what they say, but I feel like we have another MVP candidate right here that I might pick over him. You know. Would you rather Dak Prescott edition? Don't know if this is second or third, but we are here for vibes.
All right.
First name up, Jared Goff.
Dak Prescott. Not even thinking twice about it.
It's Dak Prescott easily.
Number 2, Kirk Cousins.
Dak Prescott.
I'm going with Dak Prescott, but there was some moment where I think both of them are in a similar tier. And if Kirk doesn't get hurt this year, the Vikings could be overtaking the Lions in the NFC North right now. Who knows? That's all I'm saying. Kirk was playing great too.
Kirk was hooping like an MVP. They just weren't winning games, and they started winning games. Give Kirk some credit. Number 3, the guy they've been slandering, Jalen Hurts.
I'm still taking Jalen.
I'll still take Jalen.
I think Dak is a better quarterback. I'm going with Dak.
Of course, why you know I'm smart when I do what I do. Number 4, CJ motherfucking Stroud, man.
I'll go Dak.
Dak's playing better right now.
So you're taking
but
Dak.
I think like longevity, I'll take Stroud.
You're such a cop out.
Dak is better.
I'm taking CJ. It's the only one I would answer. Number 5, K1, Kyler Murray.
I'm going to go with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, we know.
I'm going with Dak.
You go with Dak.
Shout out to my guy K1, man.
You folded. Don't you?
Dak's playing at a high
He's
level.
an MVP right now.
The masses.
I love the masses.
Didn't Lamar win MVP and you still thought K1 was better?
I still do.
What do we do?
This is tough. I got to give credit to Dak. He's been better this season. And he's been, obviously, Kyler missed a good portion because he was injured. He's come back. He's been all right. God, my heart says Kyler, but the answer is Dak.
That's I'll put Jalen Hurts twice, so we'll skip that. Next guy up, Brock Purdy.
Dak.
It's Dak.
Dak Prescott's better.
Also, the second one I will answer, Brock Purdy.
I'm dead at this EPA shit. I just saw that.
Yeah. Next guy up, Jordan Love.
Dak Prescott.
This isn't close. This is the furthest that it's ever been.
Nuts.
Dak
Prescott. It's Dak Prescott. Don't sleep on Jordan Love, though. I know he had a bad game. You guys are trying to now clown on Jordan Love. Stay on that
I wasn't clowning him. Did I clown him?
You didn't clown him, Drew. Riv throwing that image in the chat. Dehls laughing.
Yeah, but you could. I don't even give a fuck about you. That looks crazy to me.
That did look crazy.
Next guy up, Russell Wilson.
Dak Prescott.
If you didn't take
Dak is better.
You can't.
I'm taking Dak over that game manager.
I don't know what world Russ is better than Dak.
Well, Dak's heights still.
We're talking about right now, buddy.
Russ is just
that's Seattle Russ.
Seattle Russ, the movie.
We're talking about today, buddy. What are you doing?
He has a winning record. How about your team? Shut up.
What does that do with
Shut
Dak?
up. Shut up.
You're not gonna do shit.
I'm gonna go. And when we win the fucking bowl, what are you gonna say?
Okay.
And we win a playoff game, what are you gonna say? When we win a playoff game before you guys even make it, what are you gonna say? All right. The answer is Dak Prescott.
It's not close.
Next guy, Geno Smith.
Dak Prescott, not close.
Yuck.
It's Dak Prescott.
And the final guy maybe a little bit ahead of his tier, but Joel took him over Jalen Hurts, so he may think Dak is walking to this tier. Trevor Lawrence.
I'm taking Dak Prescott. I'm taking Dak Prescott.
I'm gonna go Dak Prescott also.
And
right
how
now.
the tides have fallen.
Dak is better right now.
Walked in the top.
Dak's better right now. Trevor hasn't been bad this year. I feel like people are trying to paint that narrative that he hasn't been good. A little ridiculous. Turn on the film. But at the same time, Dak Prescott's just playing at a higher level.
I would take Dak over 80 of these guys.
You didn't ask. Yeah, I'm surprised. No Joe Burrow, no Herbert.
Because I know they're better. I didn't need Dak.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I would take.
But he took Jalen Hurts over him, so you never know.
He does, but he.
I know.
He's a yep.
Like, but
Dak ain't a real.
What do we mean? Jesus Christ!
You know how Joel gets. I would take Dak over 70 of these guys. Purdy and CJ. We know where I'm going.
You're losing me. You're
So
losing.
before we get into our overreactions, I want to show you guys something.
Go ahead,
And
highlight yourself,
this
brother.
is the third down that the Dolphins had. That had they converted this third down, the Titans would have never had the ball. This was the fourth quarter.
Okay.
This was the second to last offensive possession the Dolphins had.
The third
So
and 3 screen.
Off
Okay,
this,
no.
it wasn't a screen. This was third down. So off this screenshot, does it look like everybody's blanketed? I don't know. It looks like
Who's
this guy
open?
right here is going into this corner, into this out route. Tua has a clean pocket, and he actually ends up taking a sack on this.
You do
The
have the
safety's
safety
right
here.
there.
Where's the first down marker? It's here.
The first down marker you see by the 40-yard
Yes,
line.
I see it. It's like the 35.
Top.
The 35.
That was the play. I think
That's
he's
close.
open.
How quickly does he get sacked after this?
I mean, look at the pocket right now. There's nobody near him.
What are you talking about? The guy off the edge is right there with a beeline.
He has time to throw that ball. Joe Burrow makes that play. Just saying.
Well,
and this is
better
the
team,
last
though.
drive. This is the fourth down in which Tua, I think, took the sack. So this third down, Tua ran, and he scrambled, and then he got hit before the marker. This is the fourth down. It's 4th and 3, I believe. It's very short. Do you see guys open?
Everybody looks covered up to me.
Who? This guy right here on the flat?
Or this guy running here. This guy. Maybe
Yeah. I mean, if he was one of them ones,
The only one I would have liked him to see where he's not looking his way.
he can fit that
is
ball
the one
into
right
bottom,
here.
at the bottom
Yes,
corner.
that's the one I'm
He
looking
can
at.
fit that ball there.
That's the one I'm looking at. This one right here, Riv. This
No,
guy.
I'm thinking right
Here?
I think he can fit
I'm thinking
that
on
ball.
the right side of the field because if you're going to throw to the
The
right
out
hash
route-
all the
the
way
out
to
route,
the
yeah.
left, that the corner could jump.
Well, the
back.
only reason I say is, look, the first
I
downs.
don't trust these Titans guys to jump anything.
I don't disagree. He should have let it rip.
So
But
in my opinion, I think that the out route is open, and I think there's a player that's coming open to the middle of the field on this dig where this safety kind of is in the middle. I think Tua does have a chance to anticipate this window coming open and hit him. So I think there were two options on the right side of him.
that pocket also collapsed pretty fast on that fourth down. But again, I'm not going to disagree too much. I think he's looking at that out route. He probably should have just let it rip, regardless incomplete or not. I think he should have just let it go because the pressure is coming pretty fast onto him. I think he should have just let it go.
Is I think Tua had a chance to be a hero. I think he did. And this is my issue.
I agree with you. I think when you go down and you're up 15 points and your defense blows it, you need to be the guy that goes and drives, put your team in field goal range at minimum. But he didn't do that, and that was definitely unfortunate. But at the same time, defense letting up 15 points in 3 minutes. Come on.
Streeter's saying Dante X, I'm cooking you guys.
Cooking us?
Yeah.
What's the score?
Dante.
You guys
The Mavericks
lost. You're down 5 at 2 seconds.
Okay. With no Kyrie.
Oh my God. Next I'm at 26. It's 26, 4 and 3, 8 for 10.
How much Cam had?
7 for 9 from 3.
How much Cam had?
Okay, see, that's like you chucked that up.
He had 4 3 2.
Had a great game.
Derek Lively had 8 rebounds. I needed one more.
AD did not get the 14 boards, but he did have fucking 37 and 11.
I know. I had a feeling he was
lost.
Oh my goodness.
Probably with doubling Luka, and he was just letting that shit
I'm
go.
fine.
He had 33 and 17.
Okay.
All right.
So before we move on to overreactions, did you guys hear that apparently, according to NBC Sports writer Tom Curran, who covers the Patriots, they are going to part ways with Bill Belichick after this season. After the Patriots lost to the Colts in Germany, Robert Kraft made the decision that he's going to part ways with Bill Belichick. That's at least a report.
Damn.
Yeah. I think we're all expecting it,
End of an era.
right? I do think we're all expecting Bill Belichick to move on to a different situation.
Chargers.
Do you think he'll go straight to a team? You think he'll take a Sean Payton year off kind of thing and reassess?
Nah, he'll be back. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be wanting to right his
I
wrongs.
don't see him going to Fox for a year or some shit.
I'm telling you, and this is my worst nightmare. Staley's going to get fired at the end of the season. Herbert's going to come back. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be ready to go. With the personnel on that defense, Bill Belichick will find a way to make them one of the best defenses in the game, and they're going to be one of the best teams in football.
You gotta hope he, in this year off, he looks in the mirror and says, I got to figure out this offense shit. I got to get someone who knows this offense shit because I can't keep running out the same people expecting different results. His defense.
But the great thing about the Chargers is that they're going to have a top pick. And I think even though they took Quinn Johnson in the first round of this past draft and he's been a bust, they have to draft another receiver. They have to draft another top-end talent in the draft, and they need to give Herbert more weapons because Mike Williams is injury-prone. Keenan Allen is having a great year, but he's getting up there in age. They need to start preparing right now and replenishing that receiver room and actually filling it up with people that are good.
Can I ask you guys a question? I only say this because with the Chargers and with their wide receiver history, we saw a guy in a Mike Williams who we now acknowledge as one of the better receivers in the game.
He's coming back next year.
Didn't he have himself a pretty mediocre rookie season?
He was coming off. Did he tear his ACL or was he coming off a torn ACL?
To start his career, he was not the best of
Wasn't
receivers.
this bad, though.
Not this bad, fine.
Yeah,
But
he
again,
wasn't.
I feel like it's still too early where one season, we can't just say that this guy's done.
I get what you're saying.
1 year and that's it. We're calling him like he can't be good at all. Where this game with Easton Stick, fine. Of course, it's not really moving anyone. Still made some two nice catches at least. Like, it's still your rookie season. You're allowed to – you need to be better than what he's shown you, Joel. I agree with you. He's definitely not been good. However, it's still early on before we're calling him a flat-out bust, especially with the Mike Will. Do you have the stats or are you still looking for it?
Oh, no, he was terrible. He
I
had
know.
11 catches.
I thought so.
90 yards.
I think even if you are holding out hope for Quinn Johnson being good, which maybe he can be, I don't know. I would not rely on that if I was the Chargers.
I'm fair.
I would still draft a receiver, whether it's Malik Neighbors or drafting Brock Bowers in the first round, very high, or Roma Dunze. Like, I'm drafting somebody to give Herbert more help.
Brock Bowers would be a perfect addition to this team, no doubt. But maybe if you look at the defensive side of the ball and they've been terrible, and maybe they go and they use a pick on a defensive lineman.
He did come into that season injured.
Or
Is this when he tore his ACL? I don't remember.
Playing 10 games, though, I do wonder.
Yeah, he came in. I'm just seeing how much did he actually play though. He was playing. He never played 50 or played 50% of snaps one game. Other than that, he was like around 40%.
I say Quinn Johnson early in the year was barely playing also.
Yeah, but once
Palmer went down, I agree.
Yeah.
Palmer and Mike both at the same time definitely was a position for him to succeed. All right, let's get into our overreactions after Week 14 of the NFL season. Mr. Rivio Foreign, I'll allow you to go first. Give me your overreaction.
The same one.
I think my overreaction probably is the same as my AFC contenders.
I like that.
It's Buffalo Bills.
Fuck it, is
Yeah, I think Buffalo Bills are gonna make the Super Bowl. I think that's my overreaction.
Super Bowl. Okay, I wasn't even gonna go that far.
No, I'm locking in. This gonna stand on business.
Defense is still not great.
It makes timely plays. They have their moments. Like Rasul Douglas has been good. Listen, their defense isn't great. Baltimore doesn't have any primetime receivers. Kansas City doesn't have any primetime. Like, anybody that's going to constantly destroy you, I think you'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that guy on the other side, so I think you'll always be okay.
That's fine. Josh Allen definitely will keep the Bills in every game like he's done.
And another one. Cleveland Browns will win a first-round game.
Okay.
First round?
Yeah.
Joe Flacco is going to get a win.
Yes.
At age 38.
He was on the couch 3 weeks ago.
He was.
Got
to respect him.
Throwing 200 yards.
All right, Mr. Dehls, I'll give you some time.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Moran.
He doesn't have one.
No, I know he's gonna. That was yours. All right, Mr. Moran, talk to me. What is your overreaction?
Because honestly, my first one I had was the one I did last week. I forgot about it.
My overreaction is, I don't think the Bears should fire Matt Eberflus. He's turned around this Bears defense. The Montez Sweat trade is paying off dividends. He's making some big time plays down the stretch of some big time games. I look at how Justin Fields is playing. I look at how this defense is playing. I don't think the Bears are far off from competing at a high level. They're going to have a lot of money this offseason. They have a lot of draft picks. And I feel like, why let go of Eberflus and Ryan Poles when you let them overhaul the roster in hopes of this upcoming offseason making the moves that they see fit to make this team their identity? So I think he's not going to get fired. I don't think the Bears fire Matt Eberflus. I think he will be back next year, and so will Ryan Poles.
All right, I got one now. So we don't think the Bears should fire Matt Eberflus, and I don't think this might be an overreaction because we've talked about this a lot, but the Steelers should move on from Mike Tomlin. We've seen year in, year out, he's over 500. He's a legend in Pittsburgh, probably going to the Hall of Fame one day. But right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to reset. They need to reset at quarterback, offense coordinator, and at head coach too. This team has not been able to put together success. You know, you look at the Steelers, has the has the expectation now become just be better than 500? This is a team that year in and year out, back in the prime Big Ben days, prime Mike Tomlin days, it's Super Bowl or bust. Have we gone to a point now where it's the Steelers? They could be 9-8. It's cool. First round exit. It's cool. Haven't won a playoff game in 7 years. It's fine because it's Mike Tomlin. It's one of the best coaches in the league. And there's not a doubt in my mind if Mike Tomlin got fired, he could have a head coaching position the next day. I still think he's a great football mind, but very similar to Bill Belichick in New England, I think Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers, is probably best for both parties if they split ways.
My issue with that is I understand where you're coming from, and I agree. If he gets fired, immediately job. However, is it his fault that the quarterback position gets injured and it's not
it's
good?
his fault that he
held on
let
to
Matt
Canada
Canada for so long,
Fine.
and he definitely had a hand in drafting Kenny Pickett.
The thing is, they needed a quarterback. Yes, we agree that class wasn't the best, but at the same time, they were in a position where they were a quarterbackless, or you were either going to start Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph. So his hands were kind of behind his back. He was put in a tough position
for a year. I mean,
but
look at
it's very easy to find a bridge.
Name one.
Name
one.
Brissett. You could have
Minshew.
Gardner. Yeah, you could have found a few guys.
Okay, I would rather do a
hate
year of Minshew and then the next year when
the Browns just found Joe Flacco 2 weeks ago.
But Joe Flacco on the Broncos and the Jets was not that good.
PJ Walker.
He was decent for the Jets. He won that game against the Browns first last year.
They didn't need nobody to be
on the Broncos.
Magnificent.
He was terrible.
They didn't need nobody to be magnificent. Kenny Pickett has been good.
I definitely don't disagree with you that Kenny Pickett's not that great of a quarterback.
But they don't win games because of him.
Fourth quarter down the stretch, he clutches up.
He makes okay play for the majority. It's been that defense getting clutch
For
plays,
sure.
clutch stops.
I agree.
So it's like,
by the way, Exum hit 5 threes in the fourth.
5.
Yeah, it's only 2 players have done this season. Can you name the other one?
East or
5.
West?
I'm just gonna guess. Derek White.
No.
Kobe White.
Is it a Celtic?
No.
Okay.
Trey Young.
No.
What? Okay, this is 30. It's 15.
Steph Curry.
No.
He said East.
Oh, I didn't hear
But
that.
it's how do I put
It's
this?
a bottom dweller.
It's a well-known player.
LaMelo Ball.
Yes.
No, had a feeling. All right. My overreaction. The Denver Broncos will win the division. The Kansas City Chiefs will find a way to drop a couple of games, and we will be number 1 and win the AFC West.
We can move on from that.
Okay, so the Chiefs need to lose 2 games.
Yes.
I have their schedule right
Talk to
here. Next week, Sunday, they play New England in New England.
Could lose.
No, we're not here for cuts.
Listen, they're going to be favored in every single game.
Is
New
New England
win
a bottom 5 team in the league, a bottom 3 team in the league?
Then right now in position to have the number 2 pick overall.
Okay.
They did just upset the Steelers.
I think every other game probably have a better chance. Next is Las Vegas Raiders.
I think the Chiefs win that. They kind of own Las Vegas.
Home to Cincinnati.
This is another one. They could lose, but you probably favor, like I said, you probably favor the Chiefs in every matchup.
And at the Chargers, week 18.
Without Herbert, they're cooked.
Okay.
It's not crazy.
So there's 2 potential L's with New England's Patriots.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
It's an overreaction, obviously.
This is a fandom. This is not
Sometimes you need a bot pick.
You know, listen, Riv, I don't think you understand.
You're an idiot.
I've been in misery for years. I finally get to see my team win some ball games, and you're here raining on my fucking parade?
Yeah.
Shame on fucking you.
That's my job.
Is it your job?
To tell you the truth, I'm your friend.
Pop it out.
Raven, if I came up here and said, with Zach Wilson playing the way he's playing, the Jets are going to win out, go 9-8, and
I would call you a fucking idiot.
That'd be lit. He just threw for over 300.
It's like,
Listen, Drew, as you're my brother, I'm here to tell you.
You know how happy I'd be if the Jets fucking made the playoffs?
I don't know. You've been shitting on us all episode long, bro.
Well,
your best quarterback is Chet.
Here we go.
You
You were on one talking about Tua. Let him talk. He's spitting. When I know your history, ironic. Stop talking.
Not only that, but rude too. Interrupts and rude.
Okay, say whatever you want, Rev. That's 3. No, it's 3.
Oh, it's 3.
It's 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a great
both
line.
related
It's
around
It's a great line.
Yeah, I cooked. I mean, I knew it. Dover would smack.
I didn't say a word.
You said the that's what I'm saying.
You know what? That's 3 on me saying it. That's 3 on you fucking doing it. You fucking.
Neither of them were related to me except for this one.
Yeah, you're sick. You should stop being that.
I'm not.
The world is all about seeing colors for what they are.
I don't disagree at all.
I thought you don't see color.
No, you should. You most definitely should. Be ignorant to, like, of course, you're a black man. Be ignorant to say otherwise. That's what you are. Hispanic.
I don't think you see me like
You're white.
Everyone's brothers and sisters to me, man.
We are.
I have one more overreaction.
Crazy.
Joel, you don't have any response to my Broncos winning the AFC West?
He doesn't care. I don't think
It's not going to happen.
But what happens when it does?
It won't. It won't.
Brooke
It
came
really
out,
won't.
the Texans really screwed us.
It
If we
really
win that
won't.
Texans game, we're right in prime position, dude. It sucks.
I have one more reaction, and it's I think the Jets should continue developing Zach Wilson. I don't think they should move on from him this year. The quarterback I saw versus the Texans in the rain.
Sick of this shit.
No, I'm with him. Talk.
One of the best performances that I've seen Zach Wilson have. It's so clear when he's letting it rip, trusting his arm, and the offense is going around him. He can be a solid quarterback in the league. Will he live up to the second overall pick? I don't know. Only time will tell. But I do know that Zach Wilson is made of some good stuff. He has some good qualities. He cares about this game. He wants to be better. And I don't think the Jets should just ship him off somewhere. Let him sit behind Aaron for 1 year. Let him really properly develop. And then when it comes time where Aaron's not the quarterback, give Zach a chance to get the team back and play for us. Because I think there is some untapped potential here. And I have a feeling that if we do trade him, he's going to go to another team. He's going to get an opportunity, and he's going to look really damn good. It's just my gut feeling.
You saw that report saying that Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh apparently met, and they basically both said that at the end of the season, we're going to trade you and move on.
No.
I didn't see that, but that's messed up.
That makes me sad.
This guy a pity of like.
I want to see him succeed in New York.
I do wish the best for Zach, but time is probably coming.
He sucks.
I only say I want to see him succeed is because New York media is definitely cutthroat. When you're not performing, they're gonna let you know. And with Zach Wilson, he's definitely done more to enhance the hate that comes his way. But you look at the pressers; he seems miserable. Even when he had this good game against the Texans, he couldn't even enjoy it. It felt like he wasn't even enjoying the moment of bouncing back. He had a great game against the Texans. And again, he's been kind of conditioned to just be numb to everything. He's, of course, an NFL player.
Tommy DeVito off the fucking couch is performing excellently. We're not giving excuses.
He got Brian Dable. He got Brian Dable. That's
enough
different.
is enough. The dude stinks. He's not good at football, bro. Let it go. He was a top 5 pick in the world.
He just had a great game, though.
Yeah, he did. And we can give him that. But it's enough with this enough with this development shit. You still want to see? No.
You know what it is? And Joel, let me know if I'm off base here. You see what happened with Jordan Love. You feel as if it can happen again with Zach Wilson.
I just saw what happened with Geno Smith.
Okay.
I think Zach Wilson
he's an anomaly.
Can play.
I was going to say, and also Sam Darnold also left and wasn't good. He was okay with the Panthers. He was okay with the Panthers.
Stretch.
The thing about Sam is that Sam left a bad situation and went to a bad situation. If Sam went to a better situation with infrastructure, which the Panthers had when CMC was healthy, he would have played well. And he even played well for some stretch of games until he lost that infrastructure. I think Zach just needs to go to a good team. Like, could I see the Lions taking a flyer on him for a mid-round or late-round pick? And then Zach is in a quarterback battle with Hendon Hooker, and Zach wins that quarterback battle.
The Lions go into next season with Hendon Hooker and Zach Wilson at quarterback.
They're not winning anything.
Yeah, nice.
You are getting the number 1 pick. Let's come on.
I'm not
think
going
JMO would be lit.
Because fuck it, he's down there somewhere type vibe. But the Lions trying to win some
they
games.
They easily have the worst quarterback in the division.
Yeah.
Listen, I just think it's easy to pin all the blame on Zach Wilson when he's had one of the worst offensive lines. He's had receivers outside of Garrett Wilson that can't get open. He's had a rushing attack that is inconsistent. We don't have a running game. It's easy to blame it all on Zach Wilson. But if you give him a consistent running game, if you give him protection, he can play well. I 100% believe that.
Well, what does Zach have on you? Does he have your tape? Does he like? Hey, what does he have on you? Because this shit is insane. Like,
he has my heart. Zach Wilson has my heart.
That's a great answer.
Let me say, I respect the hell out of him, man.
Great answer.
Never not ride for Zach.
I respect that because I feel the same way with Cam Reddish. I never left.
And we're up, baby.
We're here.
We're up like we never left. In-season tournament champion.
Should have won MVP.
Okay.
Okay.
He was pretty great defensively. All right, let's move on to the last part of the show. You know how we wrap up our NFL shows. We're going to do our after Week 14 NFL Power Rankings.
God, I have to piss like a sailor.
Mr. Rivero Forum, we'll start with you. So
here we go. So lock in. So number 10, slotting in a new team in the range. you know me, I'm a lover of stories. I love stories, and I love backups and guys who take over starting spots for guys who we think are nice but are really not that good. So sliding in there 10, I got the Bengals, man. Shout out to them for making this list, going out there, Jake Brown, and shout out to you. You might be a starter after all.
You surprise me sometimes.
He's a
list.
goat.
He surprises me.
Number
sometimes.
9, I got the Jaguars. You know, they did lose, but I still like that team for sure. Number 8, slide him in. Welcome back, Joe motherfucking Flacco. The Cleveland fucking Browns. Welcome back, baby. They slotted at number 8. Number 7, Miami, I gotta drop you. Losing to the Titans like that was crazy to me. Number 6, welcome back to the top 6, baby. The Buffalo motherfucking Bills. Josh Allen brings back his throne. He's back in the top 6. Number 5, I dropped him, the Chiefs. Number 4, the Eagles. Number 3, I got the Ravens. Number 2, Dallas. You almost made number 1, but they make number 2. And then the best team in the world, the Niners at 1.
Okay, I got a different.
Oh, I left Detroit out.
I was gonna say I got 3 different.
They were gone last week, brother.
I got 3 teams in here that you don't have. At 10, I still got the Denver Broncos at 10.
Oh, okay, let's respect.
You know, like Drew mentioned,
Yeah,
just barely lost. Okay.
Adjust. I'm gonna keep the Bengals at 10. Jacksonville, get the fuck out of here. I'm putting Denver at 9. We're here. I know you don't got Cleveland because you just
Cleveland. Cleveland will be 11. Jacksonville will be 12.
They're called the Browns. You know, like I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
Four's crazy. We smashed them
I
over.
get it. They're called the Browns. I understand why you don't like them, but you know what? Take Jacksonville out. We slide in Denver. My fault, Drew.
10, I got the Denver Broncos. I respect them. They would be on a 7-game heater if it wasn't for just a barely missed, not missed, but lost to the Houston Texans twin over there. At 9, I do have the Detroit Lions. I'm not completely out on them. They have to win in specific ways. They cannot win outside. But more than anything, 3 of the last 4 games, they've had 3 or more turnovers. If they could just cut down the turnovers, they would be in these games. They would have a couple more wins. At 8, first time all season long, the Los Angeles Rams are playing some of the best football in the NFL. They went toe-to-toe with the Baltimore Ravens. They've had multiple wins before that. They've been putting up 26, 30 points. Matt Stafford looks as good as he had all season long. Puka Nacua looks good. Cooper Kupp
had his best game.
First time in damn near, 2 months probably since we've seen Cooper Kupp have this type of game.
Puka's is better, man. Come on.
He's not.
I fuck with Puka, but and I love Kyron Williams. That run game is really getting going too. At 7, I have the Miami Dolphins. You have to drop them a couple spots here, but the top 7 are all teams that are going to be contenders, but I see Miami kind of at the bottom of that list. 6, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't like this offense. The defense is respectable, one of the best in the league. It's more than respectable. But at 5, Buffalo Bills. They just took care of business. I like that offense more, and Josh Allen's playing like a top 2 quarterback in the world. At 4, the Philadelphia Eagles, still sitting at 10-3, still have a chance to win the division and an outside chance to win the number 1 seed, but the 49ers probably have that locked up. At 3, the Dallas Cowboys, hottest team in football. Dak Prescott, an MVP tour. I'm sorry, Mike McCarthy, you've obviously heard my words and want me to eat them. I'm eating those words. You're playing like Coach of the Year candidate. Number 2, Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, should be the favorites in the AFC. Lamar Jackson, a couple more games like this, should be back in that MVP conversation. But at number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. I don't see a weakness here. Brock Purdy continues to get better and better week after week. Same thing with the defense. If all of these weapons are healthy, I have a hard time seeing any team beating them.
Mr. Moran, talk to me.
Sorry, I was fixing my mic. My top 10 is, listen, Riv, I mean, your top 10 was a little bit nasty. It really was. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. Listen, number 10, I'm going to go with the Rams here at number 10. I think they're playing some really good football. They gave the Ravens a fight. Their offense looked potent. Their defense is playing much better. Number 9, I got the Browns. Joe Flacco being a quarterback gives them a safe floor. Number 8, I dropped the Dolphins all the way down to number 8. Losing to the Titans was
what about the Chiefs?
Embarrassing. I got the Buffalo Bills at number 7. I think no team wants to face them right now. They're one of the hottest teams in football, especially since I think they're going to beat Dallas this weekend. I do. Number 6, I got the Denver Broncos in here. I think the way they play and their play
all
style
forgiven.
Consistent.
All forgiven. I love you. I love you.
So who did he drop? 6.
Number 5.
I love you, Joel. Don't ever doubt that. I fucking love you.
Number 5, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. The defense is a huge question mark. Their offense has no identity, and they just lost back-to-back games in embarrassing fashion. Number 4, this is where I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I understand there's still question marks around their offense.
Come on.
But when we talk about them come playoff time, Steve Spagnuolo can dial up one of the best defensive game plans. I trust Andy Reid with the game script to get this offense rolling. The yardage has been there for KC. They just got to get the points up. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. They're the best team in the AFC, but I think the best 2 teams in football are the Dallas Cowboys and then number 1 in the 49ers.
So you do know the only nasty thing I did, which you don't like, is the fact that the backup quarterback is carrying the Bengals right now.
Having the Bengals as a top 10 team is crazy.
Well, they were in top 10 when Joe Burrow was playing. I'm sorry.
They were. Dehls had them top 10.
Dehls does it differently.
I also had them pretty high when they beat the Niners.
No, I have not had the Bengals top 10 without Joe Burrow.
Without Joe Burrow, no way.
Keep this.
Riv said with Joe Burrow, nobody had them top 10, and I said Dehls had them top 10.
Sorry,
we're talking about a Bengals team that with Joe Burrow beat the Bills and then beat the 49ers. We was talking about them as a team that can really run the table in the AFC when it was healthy.
And then because he went away and they're still winning games.
They are.
Real quick before you go, the Broncos at 6.
You didn't like that at all.
I feel like if you're in the top 6, you need to have something you do damn near better than anyone in the league at.
Defense. We take the ball away better than everybody else.
I will say
and also last 3 weeks, 18 sacks. You hear me?
Yep.
18 sacks in the last 3 weeks.
When it comes to Denver, I want to say this. I don't think their defense is great because they get turnovers. They're a great defense that happens to create turnovers. But their defense is still great without creating turnovers. They can stop teams, and they've really turned around their season. And the numbers may sway it a little bit because of how they started, but that's not who they are anymore. They do something great, and then Sean Payne is going to have this offense be at least serviceable and move down the field. So they are just a team that has a very high floor. You know how they're going to play.
That was also part of my overreaction that Sean Payne will win Coach of the Year.
Top 6 team, high floor.
We do. It's gonna be Saturday's gonna be a fun game.
I'm excited.
Fun game. I wonder where you guys are gonna lean. I know my pick for that game.
Who plays on Saturday?
Denver and Lions.
Oh,
easy.
Denver.
Kidding me?
Are you picking the Lions, Dehls?
Wait, join the Patreon.
Now he's a hater. Now he's a hater.
Join the Patreon and find out.
You know he doesn't.
You know what, Joel? I thought I was gonna be alone in my Denver love this week. You surprised me.
Actually, at 10.
You surprised me.
No.
Six was I wasn't. I thought I was
Jake Brown.
No, Jake Brown is still in there. Don't get me wrong. I kicked Jackson.
So we're 9.
You're not. Yeah.
All right, I'm fine with that. Number 10 for me, Cleveland Browns. No slight. It's Joe Flacco. Just got to respect. They got to be in the top 10 with the way that they just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So he's at 10. I'm at 11. I'm a bad guy.
Did you have him? You didn't tell me.
Yes, I would have him at 11.
I didn't know.
If we magically make up an 11, you would have him there. That's an easy cop out. I feel like that is because we don't have a top 11.
I don't care.
We don't have a top 12. You're just making the shit up. I don't know where you have. You could be lying to my face.
I'm telling you the truth. As your boy, I'm telling you the truth. I would have them at 11 and Jacksonville at 12.
Okay, I'm fine with that. As long as you have Jacksonville under them, I'm fine with that.
Yes.
All right.
I also have Jacksonville under them. Cool. Number 9, Ramley. We're here, baby. Number 8, the Kansas City Chiefs. Can't trust that offense. Can't do it.
The agenda's getting so nasty.
I don't give a fuck. I'm going to get nastier and nastier week in and week out.
December, man.
Number 7, Miami Dolphins. Unfortunate but true. These injuries are piling up way too much. And I think that in a rematch, my number 6 team, Joel Moran's number 6 team, the Denver Broncos would upset those Miami Dolphins. No way, no how do we lose by 50 fucking points.
I agree.
We don't give up a 70 burger. Not a chance in hell.
No team should ever.
Number 5, this is where I gracefully take my L, and I will shake Joel's hand here. I gave him hell every single week for having the Bills top 10. They just won one of the more meaningful games of the season.
Dolphins.
Hey, they smoked the Dolphins last time they played. The Dolphins are also injured right now, which sucks. They just came off a nasty L. Devastating, gutting. I don't know what other word to use, but you got to respect them. Have them at 5. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, Baltimore Ravens. Number 2 and number 1, it's got to be Dallas, and number 1, Niners.
It doesn't make sense to me how the Bills beating the Chiefs moves them up to the top of the ladder. but we're over here calling the Chiefs frauds. Yet a win against them is so meaningful that we put the Bills as one of the top teams after they beat them.
I also think it goes hand in the Rams definitely should be top 10.
I forgot.
It also goes hand in hand with the Bills playing a great game against the Eagles on the road. They just came up a little bit short.
Lost against Denver.
Correct. And they also, against Denver. You keep saying barely lost, but
no,
at the
they
same
lost
time,
against Denver. But
they had 12 men on the field.
That's on them. That's a discipline issue. That is on Buffalo. I don't want to hear this, Joel. Enough.
Play that game 100 times. Buffalo wins.
Enough, Dehls.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't wait for this Denver shit.
But listen, Joel, excuse me, rest of the season, I promise you, I'm getting nastier and nastier and nastier when it comes to that Kansas City Chiefs. I don't give.
Well, they win 4 games in a row. I hope you keep
Hey,
dropping.
no
them
one's gonna
down
be
in your power
surprised.
rankings.
No one's gonna be surprised as the Chiefs. They should be doing this.
Okay, all right.
All right, but
Santos goes. So why were you guys late?
Riv, why were we late?
Yeah, blame the black guy. For sure.
Damn, the over crushed.
No, it was a lock. It should have been at like -1,000.
Drew forgot something at home.
What? Oh my god!
And unfortunately, Drew didn't drive. So Dehls, with the brother he is, the great guy he is, had to take Drew
Riv,
back
I've
to
noticed that
his crib.
you've been turning on me.
I feel like Drew,
Larry's in the comments. Wow.
because Dehls,
He wants us to show feet.
yeah, he's good. Because Dehls is such a great human. He was like, I got you. And Drew was like, you know what? You my brother. I pay you $5. You take me to the crib. And that's how that went. And I was locked out. So I had to just wait on the porch.
Wait, where was Drew?
I said, Drew's in the whip with you. He had to
Oh,
keep us at home.
yeah,
You
were
couldn't
real.
drive.
Yeah.
Oh.
You drove.
Oh, I drove. I forgot.
And he paid you the $5 because you did right. That's how that went. You feel me? They both good men over there.
Hey, shout out to Jake. First day at his new job. Said he crushed
Facts.
it.
I was
Shout out
gonna.
to you, Jake,
I was
man.
gonna.
Why does Larry want to see our fucking feet?
I don't know.
It's also because I'm wearing some Bronco slippies. I don't know if you can see
there
them.
it is,
I'm wearing
there
my
it is,
Bronco
there it
slippies.
Shout out to Jake. Barber
Shout out
Shack
to Jake. Hope it went well, brother.
gave us a super chat.
Read it.
Joel definitely isn't dodging Zach when he's coming.
No wonder why he didn't want to read it. Don't worry, we have that Zach Wilson Funko Pop far away from you, bro. You don't have to worry about that.
finger.
I'll happily.
I need that clip too with Josh Allen dodging. You know what?
God, that was legendary shit. That was
I
so
feel like
good.
I'll happily accept Zach if he's coming to give me a hug, man.
You gonna
Okay.
get
Race
it.
Zach, pat him in the back, and tell him, listen, good luck for the rest of the way.
All right, and
Have him in the back or
no,
pat
he
him
said
on
pat
the
him
back?
in the back.
Oh, okay,
Riv, do you
okay.
want to close the show?
Nah, I'm tired.
You want to close it, Joel?
That's gonna do it for another episode of the Pick a Side podcast. Make sure to follow us all our socials. And hey, you want an extra episode? Patreon every single Wednesday. We go there. It's just $1 a month.
Just
$1. You get all of our picks. You know who's in first place right now. I'm not gonna say too much.
You got a
plenty of
Mickey Mouse
weeks
one
left.
this week.
3-game lead. Go join the Patreon. Shout out to y'all, man.
All right, listen, you can't forget about Prize Picks. Again, use code PICKASIDE, code PAS when you're signing up, making a new account. Prize Picks matches 100% up to $100. Don't forget to do that. That's going to do
Also, before you hop
this.
off, Joel Moran Show, Fantasy
There we
Reaction,
go.
Riv Academy, jump on all that, man.
When's the
Lock
next
in.
episode
When is the next
dropping?
episode of
When's the
Riv
last
Academy?
time you dropped? Matter of fact,
I'll be honest, it's been a minute. We've been going out every Saturday, but for sure, when I come back from my cruise, I'm dropping the EP. But make sure you tap into
When-
the
when you
Fantasy
dipping for the
Reaction.
When are you going to the cruise?
I literally leave on Saturday.
You leave on my party.
I know. I told you this.
You don't fuck with me.
I don't. But definitely tap
'Cause my
into
skin
Fantasy
tone.
Reaction. They are consistent every week. Joel Moran, my brother right there, he is consistent every week. They lock in, pick a side, and then Riv Academy, I'll lock in 2024.
All right, but that's going to do it from us over here at Pick a Side Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.